All right. And we are live. Welcome to the Iron Lords podcast, episode number 78. And it's another glorious Sunday, and we are back at the round table on the Lord's Day. New time today, 11 a.m. I'm extremely excited about our special guest, so we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who I had the absolute pleasure of meeting in the flesh at PAX East 2018. This Lord is not only one of the most passionate game developers in the industry, but also combines his incredible skill set with the heart of an artist while still creating total immersion in the game worlds he creates. Introducing the senior world builder at Undead Labs, the 3D environment artist and lord of game level design, fellow State of Decay fan, fellow Destiny fan, making his debut into the realm of the Lords, my man, Lord Luis Yepez. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. Thanks. That's pretty epic.
You're in the realm, man. I told you he was going to roll out the red carpet for you.
I need to record that. I'm just gonna play that back now when I meet people. That
That's awesome.
Absolutely, man. It's an absolute pleasure to have you in the realm. Long overdue. Like I said, you're a lord in your realm, so it's only right we show you the proper respect here at the round table. Are you ready to have some fun in the realm of the lords?
Yeah, let's do this.
Of course. And of course, we have the four horsemen of gaming, those usual suspects at the round table. My co-host with the co-most, my brother from another mother, the difficult game conqueror, and the how of the young wolf. My man, Lord Addict, how you doing, sir?
First, doing pretty good. First off, I'd like to point out that you started a minute early. So now I'm a minute more tired than I should have been.
But yo, brother, you sound crazy and woke.
I haven't slept since the day before yesterday.
That's what I was gonna say. I said he just said screw it and didn't go to sleep.
That's what it is.
I tried that, and I had to get that hour and a half worth of sleep. I said I would say
if I counted the sleep, I'm running on like 45 minutes of sleep.
Because
not only did Destiny have me hooked all week, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the first episode of the Iron Fist, and then ended up binge watching it all night.
So you stayed awake. That's good. That's a good sound for Iron Fist. Let me stop. What you been playing?
Well, remember he was on the Iron Fist train with me last time, so that's not.
Oh, okay. That's right. Yeah, he was with you on that. What you been playing besides Destiny?
I played about 30 minutes of Spider-Man, and that's it. I've been playing Destiny. I have probably put more time in Destiny than some of these people have been gaming all year in like just the past week.
No doubt. And of course, we have our most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience, and also the Sostradamus, Mr. Offline Profile Illuminati and Lord Patreon of the Iron Bank. My man, Lord Sovereign, how you doing, sir?
I am fantastic. The fall season is underway.
Yes.
Games are coming. Oh man, this is for me. This is
I already know, man. So I am going to assume selfish player, single player Solve has been touching nothing with Spider-Man.
You assume correctly. Yes.
I already know. I see the screenshot. I was like, he's active on Twitter now because he's playing single player games.
Screenshot after screenshot.
Spider-Man could wait, man.
There we go.
Listen,
I know I'm
Spider-Man could wait as long as everybody buy it.
As long as you give him that money, just go ahead and play it whenever you want. But
no doubt. Ain't touching anything else besides Spider-Man?
Yeah, I mean, I played some Destiny. I played a little bit of the story in Forsaken, a couple of matches of Gambit. I played a little bit with Addict, but that was pretty much it. Once Spider-Man was in the house, that was a wrap for that.
No doubt.
And then on Switch.
See, I feel like the people that want to raid day one, it's like we're in a non.
Yeah, you're in a different zone.
We're in a you do this or you don't play mode right now.
Listen, when I played with Addict, he was like, I need to be at that level. I cannot.
I need to be 540. I can't. I have to be
there. Addict is talking about I need to be 6'10". He said I got to be.
We're trying to get to 600, and we found that the the what's gonna happen to get to that level. And we're not giving it out. If you watch Cactus, shout out to Cactus. Thank you so much, sir. Get on his video, his latest video. I don't even know if it's his latest, but go through his catalog, brother, and make sure, sister, make sure that you go and you find out how to get to 600.
What's funny is Kid Smooth. I was playing with Kid Smooth, and he was like, "Is there a place I can go just to buy some gear?" I'm like, "God."
You gotta go. You gotta go. Yeah.
So is six top level now, or is it 605?
Top shelf.
My goal is
like,
What'd you say, Lord Luis? What'd you say?
Can you get to 600 without raid? Because it used to be you could never hit high.
You can get there without raid.
Yeah, technically you can, but it's still a grind. But there's some little things
worth that extra 20.
It's a soft cap that's at 500, and you have to finagle your way to get up to 600. And everybody, my clan is very astute. Once we find out something, we spread it out like a virus throughout the clan and make sure that everybody who's serious about it is doing the techniques to get to said level.
Absolutely. And of course, we have the Incredible Hulk of this, aka the Excess Gamer.
Ooh.
The Lord of Combat Sports.
That was mad delayed, by the way.
No, I stayed right after.
He was good. The Lord of Combat Sports, who is a man of his convictions, demands nothing less than that premium experience, and is the leader of the Fraud Alert movement.
Ooh.
Beloved Lord King. How you doing, sir?
We're doing incredibly good today. We have a very special guest, and I cannot wait till we get into how we know each other and stuff like that. That's gonna be really fun within itself. But last night we had a fight. Go to the YouTube channel to get that combat talk. The results is going up after this. Being that the show is earlier today, I didn't get a chance to do the result portion of the show. I will do the results portion of the show right after this. Let's get into who's lorded and frauding in these streets. All right, and I first and foremost, I got to give my badge of the week to Lord Addict.
Woo.
Lord Addict has been above and beyond what you expect as a clan mate. Every turn he seen my Xbox turn on, and it was a party invite. And if I didn't get there fast enough, he jumped in my party. Like, bruh, what's up? What are we doing? I need to get this done. Sinister, he had Sinister in tow. He didn't let Sinister go. Had Sinister around the neck, like, you coming with us? We doing this. We was doing raids. This gets me to
I'm not about playing with the B-rated Guardians, okay? Like, I'm going straight for the
A team,
for the golden A team members.
Mm-hmm. Listen. Let's get to that fraud alert, and it's going out to one person this week who exhibited the qualities of a super fraud. This is a super fraud. Kneel before God.
Oh damn.
He's a super fraud. I'm not gonna tell you how to spell it. You can figure it out if you find it. When you are in a raid, and we was in the easy raid just to get to completion, so everybody in the clan can get the engram. We were at Gauntlet, standing on our plate. We wasn't doing the
prestige,
the run punch, top strat. We wasn't doing that. We wasn't doing prestige strat.
Wow.
All right, we were doing the regular strat. You stay on your plate, you shoot top on your on cup and top on axis. You go down there, punch your scion, you're right back. You let the runner do his thing, do your call outs. And there was something going on over there with Dog Team. The cup team had it popping, and we couldn't figure it out until Sinister stopped yelling out, "Yo, King, we got a fraud over here. Keep messing it up." And I'm like,
Sinister's in the chat, by the way.
I said, "Who's messing it up, Sin?" And he's like, "Yo, Neil is over here. He's messing it up." And it kept happening at the same junction. Like, he kept catching a brain fart at the same exact moment. So what we did, we tried to save him from his brain fart epilepsy attack that he was having. And we said, "Yo, you run." And he got elitist on us and said, "I don't run."
Oh my God.
I don't run. I said, okay. So when it was time to grab the orb and we said, "Everybody go inside," I'm not running.
Wow, we got someone refusing to run in the Leviathan Gauntlet stage.
He folded the raid fraud style.
Wow.
We all left.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
he did a whole bunch of things in there that was actually super fraud worthy. But then later on in the day, like probably like 10 minutes later, he jumps in a party with us and he comes in with his tail between his legs and he's like, "Your king, I'm sorry," because everybody thought I was gonna go off on
I
him.
just want to know how I missed that. That's all I want to know. How did I
because you
miss
stepped away at the exact time he came in and said, "I'm so sorry that my pride." And I said, I feel that. And still at the same time as him trying to humble himself, he still couldn't allow me to tell him, "We knew you were wrong. We all saw you." It's like somebody stealing and lying about it, and we're watching him put the stuff in his pocket, and he's just still going.
You know what's funny? The raid really tests friendships. Like it really does, man.
He's not raiding with me ever again, and I realize now exactly why.
He's banned from the Leviathan Gauntlet with you.
No, he's banned from me. Like he wouldn't never raid with me. We can do a nightfall.
We will test those friendships. The gauntlet's designed to test that stuff.
Absolutely,
yes.
Man.
It's not as bad as that. Is that the Taken King raid? That raid had you like, okay, that dude's out of the clan.
Yeah,
that's what happened with him before, and I forgot.
In the Taken King that like he mains Titan, doesn't play anything else, but our clan is kind of casual, and that part where you got to go through the ships, everybody get through it. I mean, it's kind of painful because it's not a platform game or anything like that. So I understand that, but this guy could not jump, and I love him today. He's a really good friend of mine. We got to the point where you had on the PlayStation, you can actually like do the request, take control over somebody's controller, and play them. Yeah. So I actually like logged off, sent the request, and played his character while watching the stream, and jumped him over all the ships, left him on the other side, locked myself back in, went into the raid, jumped the puzzle again, and went over. And the only reason was so that he could get loot, because he could bypass that and then just join us one room later.
Wow.
You know what's funny, Lord Luis? You just described LordCognito.
Oh, stop it!
His jumping acronym is in the bush.
That day where I was like, "Hey, give me virtual control of you, and I will pass you."
There was a couple.
Ain't nobody getting no virtual control over here.
No, ain't nobody get virtual control. You went to orbit until it was done.
And then he'll come back down. He'll be like, "You'll call me when you get to the room."
And I don't play a Titan, so it was kind of weird for me, like controlling him. Like the jump was just different. I made a hunter, so it's like I'm not.
You mean doing this? You mean you were the superior race with the jump?
No. I mean, hunter car, but not me.
No doubt. So that was the Neil Saga King.
Cognito. It took a toll on my soul. Like I told Attic that night, I said, "That's it. He folded my evening."
Yeah,
that's it. Man. He folded it.
That's what can happen. Yeah. What you been playing, man? Besides just Destiny, been all Destiny this week, or any Spidey?
You know what's messed up? I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud.
Fraud alert on the fraud alert.
It goes both ways.
I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud. I mean, I purchased my Spider-Man. I tweeted it out. My Spider-Man is sitting right there in the wrapper.
Oh my!
You don't understand, and I gotta tell you something, Lord Sovereign. You don't understand how real that 600 level you have to be. Like you don't get it.
I don't get it. Which is why I leave Lord Sovereign. I don't get it.
We are in a clan to where if we ain't high enough at raid day, they'll be like, "You just gonna have to get replaced."
There's no raid for you. Yeah. Like there's no raid for you. Somebody's telling you no soup for you. No soup for you. Like it's not gonna happen.
You are the raid Nazis. Yes, you are.
It's not gonna happen, bro. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, Spider-Man is in the bushes right now until I can get myself to 600.
Right.
Grimoire level cap as well, like minimum Grimoire.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the gaming ninja himself, the Shinobi, LordCognito, spreading that realness in the realm of the ILP. Not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So yeah, man, I mean, obviously, that's like the rest of the Lords here. It's been Destiny 2. Once I got past the 500 soft cap grind, it's been pretty slow. I actually took the week off of work. That's how savage I was for Destiny. Looking forward to this.
It don't even matter,
Forsaken.
LordCognito.
Yeah, I know the 500 grind is real. It's definitely real. You have to get your powerful gear loot sources in order to grind. I want to shout out the if anyone got the Ace of Spades, that is an amazing quest. So well done.
Really.
Yeah, I got it. Yep, I got it too. And I want to shout out to obviously Nathan Fillion who did the K character, but it really adds context to the story after the campaign. And I don't want to spoil it, but whatever, I know the quest steps are very hard for people who don't like PvP. Get it done. I'm gonna tell you right now, Nolan North does a fantastic job as Cade, and it gives you extra little funny insight. It's almost like a will, and it's hilarious. Please do that quest.
And use the Crimson.
What happened? Yeah, use the Crimson.
Yeah,
if you have trouble with the Gambit part where they want the 5 invasion kills, the context is wrong. It's not that you have to be the invader. You have to shut down people who are invading in Gambit. And once you get that, then you get the 25 precision kills in Crucible, which is also tough. But if you can get past that, there's a final mission that is amazing. All respects to K. They really send them off right. Really good. Obviously, Spider-Man, I was touching that a little bit. Still touching Phantom Doctrine. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to those guys over there at Good Shepherd. So that's pretty much what I've been rocking. And real quick, I know King has done combat talk, you know what I mean? But I had a shout out also. There was UFC last night. I see Psycho Game in the chat. Shout out to Tyron Woodley. Great fight. Yeah, man. He fought the young
That's
bull.
what I was asking. So what happened?
Yeah, he fought the young bull, Darren Till. And Soft, did you see it?
Yeah, it was.
I remember the very first.
Mm-hmm.
The very first time I saw Tyron Woodley, it was a long time ago. But I was like, dude, that's like the Incredible Hulk. Like the dude was huge in his weight class. Like,
yeah, he's an absolute beast in that division, and he actually
Till's bigger than him though.
Till is monstrous over him. Till is cutting so much weight to actually make that division. And you know, this was a big test. This was a big test for Tyron. He looked good. The striking was good. Still got tremendous power. Dropped the boy second round, and what he showcases besides the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, beautiful choke. I think it was a Darce, I believe.
A Darce, and he slipped in the Darce choke, like just unbeknownst to Darren Till. He kind of lulled him to sleep, slipped in the Darce, and then that was all she wrote.
And the ground and pound, the ground and pound when he first dropped him, he's gonna be the only thing with sometimes he's a little too passive. That he's annoying sometimes with his passiveness.
That's why Dana don't like him.
Yeah, but when he gets going, and it proved he's just a superior fighter. So shout out to Ron. We'll see what happens if it's gonna be Kobe next and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what I've been playing and watching. So now that we got into all of that,
hold on. I gotta give a shout out to Kanye West and Lil Pump for probably the hottest song and hottest video of the year. I love it. I'm telling you right now, if you haven't seen it,
I heard about it.
See it.
You talked nothing about this song. Are they low key paying you for this marketing?
Yo, listen. I'm telling you, I purchased it on 3 platforms. I got a streaming service, okay? I purchased it on Google. I purchased it from the streaming service in Amazon, and I downloaded it and paid for it from another site. So trust me when I tell you, you'll love it.
All right, I gotta check it out. I think I heard Tyron was promoting it.
Yes, I bet he did too, right? He did, right?
It literally in his post interview, post-fight interview. So that was kind of hilarious.
Because it's that beat.
It's that way. No doubt.
Yes.
So now we got into what the Lords are playing this week. I want to start off with Lord Luis, his video game system history, his journey as a 3D environment artist and level designer of many varied games throughout the industry, and of course what led him to become the senior world builder at Undead Labs. So Lord Luis, let's start from the very beginning though. Like, what were some of the first game systems you had and kind of what got you into gaming?
So my actual first owned system was the Super Nintendo.
Ooh, nice.
But that was my first own. That was not the first system that I was playing nonstop.
Okay.
I think it was like IBM computer.
Okay.
like early 90s and stuff like that. It was my uncle would have one at my grandparents' house, and so I remember when I would visit them, I would like play all these games that he had there.
Give me some names on that IBM. Give me some names, some game names.
It was one of those really old computers. I don't remember what it was, but it was like Prince of Persia. Like,
that's a good one.
The old school one, like, you know, black and white,
yes,
graphics and stuff like that. So I played that quite a bit, and then he owned a Nintendo system afterwards. And I remember we had a trip in the United States because I'm originally from Mexico.
Nice.
So he actually asked my mom to buy him all these games and stuff like that to bring back. And we did, and I would just like nonstop play, you know, Mario Brothers there, and Yo Noid. I remember Yo Noid.
Yo Noid.
Yeah.
Wow. Wasn't that like a Domino's something promotion?
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was just a superhero character video game or something. I didn't know going around chasing the other Noid and everything. Like, I didn't know it was a commercial thing.
Yeah, that was a big deal back then. That was pretty popular, Lord Louise. I remember that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I to me it was just a game, and then I was like, oh, they're using that game character for these like pizza things later.
Genius marketing.
Yeah, some of that, you know, they had Atari as well, and it was like Tarzan. I would play on the Atari, I think it was.
Nice.
I love that game.
All these super old games, Bomberman and stuff. So, but the first system I actually owned was the Super Nintendo, and I remember got it as like you did good in school kind of year.
Yeah, that was a reward for you.
Yeah, but I remember even convincing my mom, like, look, this is like so much better than these other consoles. If you're gonna get me one, you know, this is look at the graphics on this. It's just a better value for your money, and you know, picking that kind of stuff up. I did get it, and I just like got glued to the TV with like Super Mario World. It was just, you know, because I think it came bundled with it. I forget yet, but that was like the game that I remember getting for that. And then the next one I remember playing a lot for it was Street Fighter, because I got the console, but the games were my responsibility, and I was like 10 at the time or something like that, I think. So I would have to go and wash cars, and I would charge people like 50 cents. 50 US cents.
Look for that hustle. Look at that hustle getting those games. I love it.
I feel terrible for the people that let me wash their cars, because I think that I left them worse when they gave them to me. But you know, they knew what I was doing. They know I was trying to like save up money for something and stuff. So they were kind enough to just be like, okay, kid, yeah.
50 cents? For 50 cents, you would wash my car every day. You said 50 cents? You'd wash my car 4 times a day.
He's like, it don't even matter if you weren't good, because you're going to do it again in 30 minutes for another 50 cents.
Yeah, it was something around those lines of like what I would charge. It was not very much, and to me it seemed like a lot, but you know, and so I like saved up enough and bought Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo, because I would just play it nonstop at the arcades. My mom would send me to the store to get milk or whatever it was, and I would just like stay way longer because they had a Mortal Kombat arcade and a Street Fighter arcade there, and I would just spend whatever was left over on it. So there was never any change when she would ask, because I just spent it on the arcade.
Right on the arcade.
Started giving me, I think, like exact change later. So I would try to figure out, I don't remember what I did, but I would try to figure out how to like trade things and stuff like that just to get some money to go play.
Nice.
But yeah, I played that quite a bit. And from the Super Nintendo, you know, I think that's where I was already in love with games, but that's where it just kind of grounded me into like, yeah, this is what I want to be doing in my life. I don't know what part of it, but I want to be involved in something related to this. And then I got the 64, the Nintendo 64. I'm a very single player focused gamer.
You sound like Sovereign.
Well, I was at the time. I like multiplayer a lot more, but at the time I couldn't like care about it, or you know, competitive games, stuff like that, other than fighting games.
Okay.
And when I got the 64, there was like the option for me to say, hey, what do you want? You want the you have Mario 64, or do you want Mario Kart? Those were the two options that I had, right?
Oh. Decisions.
And
Mario Kart for the N64 was the truth.
Yeah, well, the decision I had to make was, how much do I want to share the console at the time? Right?
I assuming Mario Kart wasn't
I will say that's
you being
the
a selfish
beauty.
gamer.
I will say that's the beauty of being a single child for like the majority of my life, was I didn't have to share anything.
Yeah, we can tell.
I was a single child, but like my stepdad at the time, he would like want to play with me and stuff like that, and he was really into cars. Like he is really into cars.
You wasn't gonna get no playing time.
So I think he was wanting me to get Mario Kart. He was trying to hint at it, but I was like, nah, I want this for myself.
Young Daffy Duck, mine, back.
That's what I would do. Listen, I purchased the games in the house, so Kaibatsu had to play what was there. That's it. You play what I get. That's it.
Savage sibling talk.
He is still to this day on that same regimen, and it has worked out for y'all because you buy everything. You don't play everything, but you buy everything.
Nah, we split it. We split it now. Game sharing is the best, so we split it now.
All right.
Yeah, I ended up choosing Mario 64 for selfish reasons.
Amazing game, though.
Still don't regret it because it was a great game. I ended up getting Mario later, but the thing with like all my consoles and stuff was that my parents would usually like chip in or something to like help me get the console, but the games were usually on my own, right? Anything else, like unless it was like a birthday or something like that, like anything else was on by yourself. So you really had to think very, very carefully about what game are you going to get as a present, or what game are you actually going to buy and stuff, because there's just not as much of a breadth of games like there is now, and you had to really, really choose carefully. So played a lot of 64 games, like GoldenEye. Like that was like for me one of the best. Like
that was
great game. Great game.
And then something started happening really because with the 64, I started like just seeing all these 3D games like Mario 64, GoldenEye, like just all this stuff. But then those like all the platformers were still trying to make their way through the 64. They were like this big. They had their big height at Super Nintendo, and it felt like they just kept coming over. So at the time, I just couldn't I kind of didn't care much about them anymore, because it was like, well, it's the same thing. Why I want more like of these 3D puzzles in games and stuff instead of the platformer stuff. Not to say that they weren't great games. Right. And the last one during that era that I remember enjoying a lot was, I think it's called Mischief Makers.
Okay.
It was like kind of anime. It was like this anime character girl that was like got into robots or put on like masks or something. It was like very, very out there. Okay. But it was fast paced. It was really, really fun. And that was one of the last platformers that I actually enjoyed, because I wanted more like Banjo-Kazooie and I'm like, if you're gonna give me the platformer, give me that on the 64. I don't want the Super Nintendo kind of platformer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mischief Makers was Treasure. I mean, Treasure, like those guys, Gunstar Heroes, like those guys are amazing.
Oh, it was those guys. Oh,
yeah,
I remember Gunstar. It was those. Okay.
Yeah, so that's I kind of like with that getting older and stuff. We moved to Cancun when I was in that era of gaming.
Nice.
And
he was living it up.
Oh, he was doing it. He was doing well.
He threw it out there like, you go to vacation, that was my house.
we moved to the town. It was like out of necessity for work for my stepdad at the time. Like we just moved there, and so the environment is just so much more different than living in Mexico City. So gaming kind of started taking a little bit of a second seat on my priority list. And I'm like making new friends, trying to like get to know the city and stuff like that became big. So I call it like I had a big like I think it's how do you say it, lull? Like I had a big like dip in gaming in my life. And looking back, I think it was something like 2 years, so it's not that big, but it feels like it because I didn't really come back into gaming until like the end of the PS1 era, middle of PS1 era and stuff like that I really got interested back. Gotcha. And the way I got interested back was I went back to Mexico City to visit a friend of ours, and we would play basketball together. And so we were playing and everything, and telling him how it's going in Cancun. And he invites me back to his house. He's like, "Oh, dude, let me show you my PlayStation."
Okay.
So we go, and this is when I found out about pirated games, right? So
shout out to Mexico City for the bad influence. Let's go.
Because before that, it was cartridges and stuff. So I never seen like a pirated game, or I didn't even know that was a thing. I go to his place, and he has these like just photocopied covers of games, like stack, like forearm high, right? Like,
did he have a book like with all the CD sleeves?
no,
that was me. I was
sitting
bougie. I treated them like real games. So, excuse me.
Continue, Lord
I had
Louis.
not seen PlayStation 1 era graphics because I had just stopped playing. So, this is the first time I'm looking at it, and I had lost interest in games a little bit during that time. So,
gotcha.
he starts showing them to me, and there's this one game, and that's when it all came back. Like, he shows me Soul Reaver. So he pops in Soul Reaver and shows me this game, and for one, it looked amazing, right? I was just like, my jaw dropped. I was like, whoa, this looks great. And then he does the shifting in the game where he goes between realms.
Yes.
And the environment just like moving in front of me, no loading,
seamless.
No actual like CG sequence. Nothing. It was like real time in front of you. Shift the entire world, looks completely different. You see the geometry bend and everything. In that way, I was like, I wasn't sure if I was like high or what.
He's like, what is going on?
He said, did I pick the Mexican water?
What did you just do? What the hell is this game? I need to know more about it. And that's like inside, I think that's when I knew, I'm like, this is what I want to. This is where I want to be. I want to make whatever sensation I just had looking at that. I want to make that happen for other people.
So Soul Reaver holds a special
Soul Reaver gave more epiphany.
I had my epiphany there. Then after that was Resident Evil and those games that just started pulling me in. But I didn't have the money for a PlayStation, so I found. I made a friend.
You made a friend who had a system. The baby bodied your system.
They had one, and so I lived at their house in Cancun. Like, I lived in that house. I would go get out of school, and I would go there, and I would have lunch and dinner there, and I would just be playing games. I think their dad probably hated me because I literally lived. I did everything in the house.
You were full-time munching at this house.
Like half of the school was munching at the house. Like, they were just. Wow. Everybody was there. It was the house to be at, even though
that sounds like LordCognito's house back in the day.
This is like beginning of high school, and everybody would just like hang out at this house, and so I did everything there except for sleeping, and sometimes I would even sleep there. So, I just played Resident Evil and those, and then Silent Hill was definitely the other one. And Silent Hill was the one that sold me on. I already said I wanted to do that, but seeing the storytelling of the atmosphere and like we would all gather around, and one person was playing the game, but we were all there. It was like watching a movie or something.
Yes, absolutely. Now let me ask you a question though, Luis, because you're saying like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, all that stuff. Like, did you guys do it how the Lord did? Like, we made it like a cinematic experience. Like, you had the lights had to be dim. We had to be quiet.
It was a small room, like a tiny 1-bedroom for like a kid, and that's what the system was. So you had like 15 teenagers crammed in there.
This is our childhood
with the heat, right? So it was like, it probably didn't smell very good. Everybody was put up with it because you would just live there, lights out. We also had a rule where I believe we weren't able to play until like after 8 o'clock, so that no kind of like sun glare would like bleed.
Oh, you really wanted the ambiance.
And so we did that, and we just played through it. And I was like, I didn't know you could get that kind of experience from a game. And that was the one I'm like, wow, like, so you could really push this thing far. And those are the games that just like really stuck with me.
Absolutely. And that, if I recall, that was the one looking. If I recall, that was the one that really had like the fog effect, and it really put you in a joint. Go ahead, King, you were about to say something.
I'm just loving. We're having the same exact experience you having in Mexico City, in the Bronx.
Yes.
You're having the same exact experience with turning off the lights, everybody huddled around one guy, everybody's, and you took me back when you were saying it. That's why I was smiling, and I looked at myself cheesing like a wild Cheshire cat. It's just, this is what games do. This is why the stupidity when it comes to separating yourself from console. You just heard he went from Nintendo to Sony, and there was no fighting, none of that. It's this love and this experience. When you cut yourself off from all these other systems and stuff like that, you lose that kinship that we have right there.
Preach.
He said something that resonated, gave me I got goosebumps.
Facts.
Okay,
he took it back.
He gave me goosebumps, and I thank you so much for sharing that part of you that is inside of me. Thank you. It was just great right there.
Yeah, I was there. He literally took us right there. I mean, what you were doing was the exact same thing the Lords were doing back in the day. And it was just, it was an event when these games came out and we all got around that TV. We all, lined up.
You know what's funny?
See what the latest experience was.
I had these same experiences. And they're the prime example why I know you guys are going to get dealt with in Super Smash Brothers. You guys are going to get dealt with in Pokemon. These are the games that I partied up with people.
Same thing. I mean, we did the same thing with Tekken. We did the same thing with Halo. It was the same. It was that competitive nature with the fighting games, like Lord Louis said, and then the cinematic story games, because those kind of debuted at that time. Like you said, the Resident Evils, the Silent Hill, those first true horror games that really scared you. And it was like a rule, like you couldn't play it with the lights on. We have to immerse ourselves in the game, in the dark. Continue, Lord Luis. These are great stories.
the thing, like that I've noticed here, like talking to, since I moved to the U.S., like talking to people that grew up with those systems around the same era and stuff, it feels like there was a lot more like acknowledgement around games.
Yes.
And people knew that gaming was an entertainment thing. You had you knew people that had it. Like back where I grew up, it wasn't. It was kind of rare. So my entire life, I've been in love with comics. I've been in love with like movies and just all this stuff. But there was never an environment where I could actually like grow that or have other people. So these few instances where we did get together with other people were far few and in between. Like Silent Hill was one of the very few where I was able to be in a crowd. Everything after that, it's really just me being by myself. So it didn't nurture that side of like gaming and like that nerd culture that everybody lives now.
Yeah.
So for me right now, I'm living the life because everybody knows, what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I talk to my wife about Spider-Man or about like Iron Man and all those things. Even though I'm not as deep into the knowledge base as a lot of other people do, I get to explain it to her. And I've slowly been turning her into a nerd to the point.
Nice.
I think
it's Marvel. Like she wants to get like maybe a tattoo of the star on her. Right?
One crazy thing is like people that started in this generation, like the Xbox One and the PS4 generation started gaming, like that. Cool, that's a good experience, but like there was nothing like when it was starting to become mainstream and people were noticing gaming, like playing games then.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember Pokemon Silver back all the way like 10 years ago. Where I'm sitting there, I'm in the living room. I'm at my cousin's house. We just got done playing, and I just kicked him with the Lugia. And I'm like, "Where's my DS?" This man went in the bathroom and is trying to trade my Lugia to him because
savage.
Yo. And I finished the PS1 era. I got a job promoting the school that I was in, the high school that I was in at the mall, like little stand, working there for like one of the winter breaks or spring breaks or something like that. It was about a 1 to 2 month gig, just promoting the school. So I could just sit there, read books, and because I was a huge reader those years. Now I just listen to them because I don't have time, but I would just sit there and read, and then if people had questions about the school, then I would just tell them. But it was easy money, right? And it was when the PS2 was coming out. Okay. So all my money, like once I found out that like the store in town was going to have some, I went down there and I would see if I could get into like the pre-order list. And I was able to do so. And I put my name down without even knowing whether I was going to even have the money to buy it. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And I talked to the person that hired me for that gig. And I asked pretty much like 3 weeks in, and this was like a little bit less than half of the amount of time that I was supposed to be working. I'm like, can you just pay me in full? Like
he wanted that advance. Let me get my game now. Let me get this game.
Yo, listen, I guarantee I'll be here, but they won't have what I need this for.
What do you need the money for? And I knew that they weren't gonna get it. So I kind of gave them the salesman's pitch of what I was buying without like line, which I'm like, that's an all-in-one entertainment system, you know. You like it plays the CDs and DVDs.
You know, the moment you mentioned, I want to buy that, they're like, no, you ain't getting it.
Yeah, but you know, there's something. You have been a salesman since that Super Nintendo. You've been selling people on what you're getting next when you told your mother is the value for your dollar. To this next guy, your employer, let me get the advance on my current check because it's an all-in-one CD system.
And I'm like gonna have to buy it now, you know, because it's gonna it's just this one window and everything. So that sounded way better than saying I want to buy a game console. Like I knew they weren't gonna get it. So I did get the advance. I went over, bought it. And there I'm sitting with, you know, I come out of the store, which was like this shady store, by the way. This is like where you would go and buy like some of the
that wasn't the store that got them early. Did they get them early at least?
I think they just like maybe knew somebody in the U.S. or something that would like get a shipment of like 10 of them or something.
Nice. Mr.
Over.
Yes.
Because he would rent. That was the place where you could go and you could rent a couple games, or you could just buy all the pirated games, which everybody was doing. And that was the first console that I actually like, you know, put all my money into, like that I bought myself. And I'm coming out of there, and I'm like 15 at the time or something, and I'm looking at this big box. I'm super happy, and then it hits me. I'm like, I have no games. I'm like, I just put everything into this. Like, I don't have any more games. I got home, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do now. So my mom looked at it. She's like, gave me money to go buy a game. Like, she's like,
man, bless her heart.
Game. So it's like, right. It went from me buying the games, me being responsible for the games, for like me buying my first system. And then my mom just like giving me a little bit of a push of like, hey,
that's what's up.
Go buy a game. So I went and I looked at the games that were available. I didn't know what these games were, most of them were and stuff. So I ended up buying Dead OA 2. So Dead OA 2. Because I knew I liked fighting games. So I was like, well, that's a fighting game. Okay. I had never heard of it before. So I was like,
Dead or Alive.
The Unshaven.
The Unshaven.
The beard's inspired by the Unshaven.
Yes.
So I played that quite a bit because that was the only game I had at the time. And yeah, I just slowly started building a collection. That's also when I started dating my now wife. Nice. And she was a trooper. She would like sit there. She was my audience, right? So she would sit there and experience these games with me, even though she didn't really care too much about them. I started getting her into
tolerated you.
Yeah, she did. But I started getting her into it when I got Metal Gear Solid 2. She thought that the character designs were kind of sexy. So who's that blonde guy? You know, it started getting the story was really good. It was one of those games that just started engrossing you. It started like actually making you a little bit of a paranoid, because you're like, is this a game or is this like them telling me something going on in the world? Yeah, we just like that was another like great gaming era for me, because not only was I experiencing all these like titles that are now cemented into like, you know, as these like pillars of gaming that we like refer back to, but I was experiencing them with like my significant other, and she was getting into the culture. Cool. She didn't like pick up the controller and play with me, but she was like appreciative of it.
That's what's up.
And she knew that I really liked it. She knew that I wanted to do something related to that stuff. So she was very, very supportive. And we were playing, and one of the games that we got together was Fatal Frame.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, this looks interesting and stuff. So like, I remember grabbing my stepdad's stereo system from the living room and coming up and trying to figure out how to hook up, because I had heard that sound was so important in this game and everything. Yeah. So I wanted to recreate that like darkness of setting that we had experienced in Silent Hill with her, because she wasn't there for that. So I wanted her to experience that.
Right.
And we would play at night and stuff. I figured out how to hook up like these huge speakers with like the 12 CD system and stuff. I moved all the sound system and stuff like that without.
He's the Mexican me. This is incredible.
I moved the entire system, which I was not really allowed to touch, even to put CDs in without asking for permission. I just took it all and moved it from the living room into my bedroom.
Wow.
And hooked it all up, and was playing. And that's actually still one of the games that my wife remembers fondly. She's like, "What was that camera game you used to play?"
Dude, I gotta give you credit, man. You you were very intuitive in trying to recreate those experiences and doing things when you're not supposed to.
So yeah, nice. I played a lot of that, and then eventually I had to graduate. High school and started looking into how to make games, and so
which is what I was going to ask you. So pretty much like that right there, that from the PlayStation era on, and that kind of sets you up with the transition to kind of lead you into that passion. So like, as far as like obviously we know you for the level design and stuff like that, but like from the artistic standpoint, like how did you start? Let's talk about Lord Luis, the artist. Like how did that start and then evolve into the level design?
So I've always drawn. So when I was a little kid, I just like when I wasn't gaming and stuff like that, I was always drawing. So I would like draw Looney Tunes, and I would draw Tiny Toons, and so I love that stuff, right? So I would just draw them. I would like get a picture of them, or I'd try to like replicate it and copy it. Like that's what I thought you did as an artist, was just looking at stuff and copying it, because that's what I saw in actual fine art. Like these, you have a model, you paint it. So that's what I thought art was. And so the entire time when I was a kid and a teenager, I would just draw things that other people drew, because I thought that's what you did. And so I was always very creative. But when it came down to it, looking into making games, I couldn't get information in Mexico. This is like, asking for, I don't know, like water, where like people have never seen water in their life. Nobody could give me information. It was really hard, and this is like beginner of internet era becoming popular. So it was not everybody had internet, not everybody knew what I needed, and people thought it as a joke, right? Because you're like, I want to make games, and they would kind of laugh, like, okay, be serious. What do you want to do in life? I'm like, no, that's what I want to do. So it took a lot of effort and a lot of research. I found like a program that eventually was like, if you want to do this, you probably want to learn some programming.
Right.
I'm like, okay, so I got to do that. And because of that, during the last couple of years of high school in Mexico, at least compared to here, from what I heard, in your last year, you kind of choose like your specialty kind of thing for going into college.
Yes.
So there's
kind of like the person.
Yeah, so there's like the mathematics, scientist, physics kind of path. There's the biology and medical field, and social studies, or like art studies and stuff like that, right?
Right.
And even though I maybe would have gone into art stuff, knowing that I would need to be proficient in programming and learning all these technical things, I went into the science side of it. So learning, calculus and all the advanced math stuff to go into engineering. So I looked into engineering schools to start study computer science. And I remember one of the interviews I had at one of the schools my uncle who got me into gaming. He went with me to all these schools in Mexico City to try to like figure out where I was going to study. And they asked me, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to make games. And I remember the recruiter laughing and being like, why don't you go figure out what you want to do and then come back when you're ready to actually study for real? And I was like,
did you get his name so you can request him on Facebook so you can be like, ha ha ha?
I did. They had at the time, I think it was like the Sony Palm or something that was really popular.
I remember the Palm. Yes.
So, like, so she's pulling that out as she's writing the notes about me and stuff like that to keep a file on me, right? And when she says that, I'm like, we never had in my family, we never had a lot of money and stuff like that. We were always like, we're never like starving or anything, but we were always just doing getting by.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, I'm like, I felt that was so smug of her to be doing that. That I pulled up like a paper note from my back pocket and my little pen. I was just like, wait, so okay, give me the phone. Like I was trying to replicate her gestures with her palm with me on my actual paper note.
You was petty.
I was trying to.
You are me. We are
petty on that one. I like that.
Yes.
So I was making fun of her without even knowing that I was making fun of her, kind of thing. Because it annoyed me. I didn't find it like nice that I was actually being serious about it, and she was making.
She not taking you serious.
Right.
So I mean,
you got that last laugh though.
It was a different time and stuff like that. Nowadays, there's like programs to study that stuff, how to make art and things. So anyway, I am enrolled in a school where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start computer engineering at this school and stuff like that. I passed the test. I got accepted and stuff.
Nice.
I think it was about a month before I was going to start there. I was going to move down to Mexico City with my grandparents and go to school. And I used to subscribe to this gaming magazine.
Which one? Give me a name.
I don't know that it was known here. It was called I think it was called Atomics in Mexico.
Okay.
Oh,
so it was
okay.
a
I know
Mexico-based publication?
I don't know if it was particular to just Mexico, but it was the Mexico version of the Mexican version of this magazine.
Got you. Okay.
So I would get it every month, and in Cancun it was always late. Everything in Cancun would arrive late because it wasn't the main city. It wasn't a main city or anything like that. So if you got a magazine there, it would be like 2 months.
2 months behind. Yeah.
So I was always every week trying to see if they had the new one. So they finally get the old 2-month-old issue in scan. I buy it, and reading the editorial, I saw like a tiny article where it said like, learn how to make art for games. And I was like, wait, what? You can do art for games? Like, I didn't know that was even a thing. I thought it was all technical programming stuff, right? So I started reading into it, and I looked at it, and I told my mom about it. I'm like, well, there's this school in Phoenix, apparently, that, they teach how to make art for games. We have family in Phoenix, so it's like, well, I could live with them and maybe go to school there. But it's a foreign college. It's in another country. That sounds expensive, right? Like, all that stuff sounds expensive.
Right.
So it's like, well, let's look at it and see what it would be. And it turned out that it was about the same amount that I was going to be paying to go to engineering school.
Gotcha.
To go there. And so I remember my mom saying, like, it's your call. What do you want to do? And like,
just don't waste the money.
Well, that's true. It's pretty ballsy too.
She had a rule. Yes. She's like, I couldn't, regardless of where I went, I could not fail a class. If I failed a class.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, if I failed the class, then she would, you would be responsible for the cost of that. Like that, my mom was really strict, and she was very, very like strong with me in that on a lot of that stuff. So everything I did, I had to think about very carefully what I was going to do because there was very little second chances.
So really, the pressure was on Lord Luis. Like you had to make this happen.
Yeah. So we looked at it, and it was like, because it turned out to be very close to it, I was pretty much covered for most of I think there was maybe 3 classes that I was short on to be able to pay for, but that qualified me to be able to get a student visa and everything. So we went through with it, and I moved up to Phoenix and started. It's basically a glorified fine arts degree that they were spinning. And so I learned how to do 3D and stuff in there. But they didn't really teach us how to actually make art for games or like that. It was just a marketing thing, really. It was not. Looking back at it, at the time, it felt great, but looking back at it, it wasn't like the best experience. And so, fortunately enough, I made a lot of really good friends there. We were all very, very driven to do this thing, and so we all kind of taught each other. So while everybody else was like playing Smash Brothers in the lobby and stuff like that, we were in the labs. We were like just working on a lot of the stuff, teaching each other.
Nice.
And we just grew from there. And we all graduated, and a couple of years later, well, here I am. I guess.
Wow, that is a tremendous story because, like, not only did you follow your passion, and you had so many obstacles to go through just to get the information about your passion. So I gotta salute you on that, especially the move. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you had family there and stuff, but that's a ballsy move, man. You went into the unknown, what I mean, to go for your passion. And then obviously that led you into level design and all that good stuff. So let's bring you up to speed now as far as what we know you for, like the world builder of State of Decay. Like, how did that opportunity with Undead Labs? And also I want to shout out your team. Obviously we had Lord Fogey in the realm of the Lords, you know what I'm saying? Obviously we met all you guys there at PAX East, Brant Fitzgerald, also I want to shout him out, as well as Jeff Strain. So like, how did that opportunity start to now get that gig at Undead Labs?
So I was over at a couple of years ago, I was working at Fifth Cell, which they're known for Scribble Knots. And at that time, when our game was coming out, hybrid for Xbox Live.
Yes, the Xbox Live arcade game.
Yeah, State of Decay was coming out as well, and being part of like the Summer of Arcade lineup and stuff, we would get like a little bit of a sizzle reel from Microsoft internally to look at all the games that were coming out, right? And in that sizzle that we got, I got to see State of Decay before it came out, and it was like, wait, what is that? Like that caught my eye.
Yeah.
and then find out that it was like a local studio that was working on it. It sounded pretty interesting. Kept my eye out on it because it was really, I just thought it was kind of really fresh what they were doing. And then a couple months later, I had to like leave Fifth Cell and went over to Hidden Path to work on some VR stuff. And in that time, I know a friend of mine that went to work for Undead, and I pinged him and said, hey, I'm really interested in working at that studio. Will you let me know if there's ever like an opportunity? Because you would go on their page, and even the statement says like, we're not always looking. Most companies say, hey, we're always looking for talented people, kind of thing, right?
Right.
So you can kind of like blind send your resume or portfolio and stuff like that. And Undead was one of the few places that I saw where their actual message was like, we're not always looking for people. We're very careful about who we hire. We're very careful about like thinking about the long term of why we're hiring. And so because of that, I didn't want to like just blind send in my stuff and have it get lost.
Right.
So I told my friend, like, just let me know when there's an opening and stuff like that. I'm really, really interested in doing it. Right. And I was a year in at Hidden Path working on some VR projects when he hits me and he says, hey, we just had an opening. Are you interested in applying? And at that time, I had been applying to a couple other different studios. And the thing about me is like I'm always applying as an environment artist because that is where my like the most skillful set that I have comes from, the art side. But I always end up doing all these other things that are so much more beyond an artist, that are like more designer oriented and more like UX focused and stuff like that. Your experience at the end. So I'm not a typical environment artist that comes in and just works on his art and tries to make it look good and then goes home. I'm always thinking about how you play the stuff, how you're
how it interacts. Yep.
Exactly. Like why there's this quote that I'm going to use from a friend of mine. Like, why is little Timmy going to spend $50 on your game and not $50 on like Call of Duty? So that's kind of like, I'm always thinking about that kind of stuff as I'm making things, right? Like, how do I make it better, and what is this going to give the player instead of what these other games are going to give them, or give them incentive to stay?
Right.
And so because of that, it's the role that came up with Undead. I had a screening call with Jeff, and
shout out to Jeff.
Yeah, he explained to me what the role was. He's like, you're going to be doing a lot of like moment to moment, set dressing, storytelling and stuff. You're not going to get to do a lot of art. It's like 80-90% of your time in editor, and then the other 10% of the time maybe modeling for things that might just complete the area if you really feel like it needs it. Instead of like the 90% of modeling and stuff and then just piping it through. And I'm like, you're describing exactly what I've been looking for, because I don't want to neglect that artist side of me. I just can't, that creative side, but I just cannot not think about the player experience and how to like involve it, like just get them immersed in the world.
Absolutely.
So he said, is this something that sounds interesting to you? And I said, yes, absolutely. So I got an art test from them, sent it, and just hoped that I would get it. And I got an interview, and obviously I think I did okay. So
I think you did fine.
Because I'm there now. So
nice, man.
Yeah, and they definitely asked when I was interviewing. They're like, so why do you want to work here? I'm like, I've been wanting to work here for like 3 years now. You guys never had an opening.
I waited.
You put it back on them. I like that.
And that's how I ended up.
It was evident when we got to you guys that day. First, I would like to say thank you so much, because you made our Boston experience the highlight of PAX. That night with you guys and meeting you guys, the way you set it up, where you come in and you had the little secret password, you had to go to the back, and the swag that you gave out, and the intimacy that you had with us. And we saw the camaraderie with each and every one of you guys. So for you to say that you guys are basically handpicked to fit into this team, that you came with your skill, but he explained to you that we needed this, and you said, yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for. It seems to be that they built this giant pyramid with each one of you guys as a block, and it's beautiful. Because when you took the picture, when it was just, I don't see teams like that. Usually, teams do something. They're like a football team. They come in with a mishmash of people. They play their role, and usually at the end of the season, when they get their ring, they go off to another team. But you guys look like y'all are like, solid and very tight. And the way that y'all interact with each other, having each other's back and stuff like that, we saw it. And you guys were the highlight of our PAX experience.
Absolutely. Like, shout out to Undead Labs. I really want to double down on what King is saying because, like I said, you definitely seen, like, we've been around other teams before, but it felt different. And you guys had a general camaraderie. And again, we can't say enough to, shout out again, Lord Richard Fogel, who came on the show as well, and just besides just talking about your game, we're like talking about gaming,
Yeah.
And I thought that was really dope. And just to see what you guys are creating, and obviously, with the recent success. And I wanted to ask you, transition into that with the recent success. Obviously, we know the announcement. We know, obviously, you guys are now a part of Microsoft Studios officially, Undead Labs. Like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, like, now that's here. Like, do you feel a sense of like renewed energy at the studio now? What's the temperature of the studio right now?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think everybody's pretty excited about what's to come. It's giving us a lot of time to think about what we want to do, where we want to really focus on stuff. So you can't really get too much into details, obviously, but it's been good. It's been really, really good, and it's also been weird for me too because this is the first time where I've shipped something and I have to worry about like what's coming next. Like, do I have to start looking at other studios, stuff like that? I've always had that kind of pattern in my career, and I think most developers have.
Yeah, of course. So but now you got that stability right now.
It's kind of weird, right? It's not good. It's definitely a little bit of like just PTSD almost there. Like, I'm like, wait, no, that it kicks in.
I gotta get out. You're staying there.
I guess it would be
there's very few lucky developers, I think, that have had more hits than non-hits or even release stuff. And my career is a little bit the other way around, where like I think 60-70% of the stuff I worked on hasn't come out. And then the other 30 has come out, and not everything has been as successful. This is definitely one of the most successful projects I've been involved with.
Absolutely. Got Attic. You were gonna say something, Attic?
I guess that would be pretty scary thought process working with a dev. Like, and I guess that would be a different feeling, going from project to project, knowing that you're going to be working on State of Decay for a while, instead of like, I don't know what I'm going to be working on this time next year.
Yeah, stability is a good thing, man. And obviously, we know you guys are on the eve of the Daybreak expansion. So I don't know how much you can tell, because I know you're working on it. We know it's coming soon. But are you excited about it? Is there anything you can reveal to the Lords that you're excited about regarding this project?
I think a lot of it has been revealed over on streams and stuff. Like, I know Brian, one of our designers, he showed a lot of the rewards and stuff like that. And I know Jeffrey's been showcasing it like in 2 streams, I believe.
Yes.
So there's a lot of information out there. I'm not sure if you're looking for something specific. I mean, it's
no, hard. Just your involvement with the project. How excited are you in reference to it?
Oh, I'm pretty excited. I think it's a different game mode. It plays fairly different from the base game, but it's still it plays separately from the base game, but yet feeds into it. So for a lot of people that are looking for, I think, a little bit more of a quicker gameplay session, they're going to be able to go in there, enjoy, and play that mode, and yet still have some progress and feedback into their main game that's in there for the long term. So it's pretty fun. It's also pretty difficult. It's really hard to beat it. I think like very few of us in the studio have actually been able to get even close to finishing it. The QA department definitely has, but it takes some strategizing and some planning. So we're excited to see how people are going to try to like beat it.
I do got a question for you. Did you finally? So this is the finally. Yes, Lord Addict, I put the lightsaber in the game. No, what's funny is I'll be having like this inside joke with everyone at Undead Labs. Like, that's cool and all, but where's the lightsaber?
Well, I'm not in the weapons department, so.
The Attic would like to blow the licensing budget.
What he said on a warthog.
I was talking to Lord Fogey. I was like, man, you need to put a Hulkbuster and I think I said lightsaber. He was like, He's like, that sounds really nice and all, but that sounds really expensive.
Yeah,
man. I was like, it's better to ask. It's better to ask for permission, to ask for forgiveness than permission. He was like, he's like, but lawyers aren't usually.
Yeah, the only forgiveness you're getting is a loss.
It's just a continuous joke I do over and over again because it's just gotten like humorous to this.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Well,
yeah,
man, we'll probably see
off.
We'll see a Gears weapon in there before we see anything else, right?
But yeah, Lord Luis, man, we're very excited about obviously the Daybreak Pack. It definitely sounds like very difficult, very cool horde mode. You get to play for with your friends. You're getting to get new weapons and gear and bring that into your communities. So we're definitely excited about that. And before, obviously, we know about all that's going on with that. But I did want to say something about your as far as your history, because I also looked at your portfolio and I saw some other games that you worked on, which very surprised me. And one of them was actually DC Universe Online. I was like, okay, could you tell us about that project?
Yeah, we talked about that when we were there.
You're giving me probably more credit than I deserve on that one. I was working at Sony Online at the time, and we were working on the agency. Which I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Never came out.
Yes.
Stuff, but the agency and DC Universe were the same Unreal 3 engine, right? There were different versions, different code base for every single project. But when there was like a pivot in the agency, there was like just too many people to be working on it. And instead of getting rid of people and stuff like that, DC Universe needed the help. So they were in their last year before shipping, and so they asked like, who wants to help on this project? And because there was like not a lot to do for content creators in the agency during that time, it was a lot better to keep like a little bit more of a focused skeleton team on it with the pivots that were happening.
Yes.
And I jumped on that, and we helped them just create a lot of their side mission levels and stuff that were not core to the experience, but they were going to like just provide a lot more content for players. So I was in charge of I was here in the Seattle studio, and I was in charge of like a group of, I think, 4 or 5 artists that we were just creating like all these like the Poison Ivy layer and like the Gotham City Sewer, some of the Metropolis University stuff. So a lot of the stuff we were given the kit sets to make the levels, because obviously the game was about a year out from shipping. A lot of their infrastructure and content was in place. So it was like, hey, take these kits and just rearrange them. Here's the level, the white box level. Just art them up. And there's one I think in my portfolio that shows the Poison Ivy one, and then like the Gotham. And it's the exact same level. It's just different skins, so it's the exact same level layout and stuff. Just kind of
the fact that you had anything to do with Poison Ivy and anything, you the real MVP.
Like I didn't like really. I didn't sit there and like figure out these systems with them or anything like that, right? It was like, hey, just help the team bring this over to the finish line. So it was a couple of us, and I was coordinating with the outsource managers over on the Austin studio at the time, and we were just had dailies over the phone, just checking up and stuff. So we ended up making like a good amount of variety of stuff for them. I think the Hive layer is one of the ones that I ended up working on. And I don't think they had, if I remember it correctly, they didn't really have a kit set for it, and they mostly had like hero props. So taking a lot of their hero props and the language of that and kind of making a full or expanding the kit set that they had to make those levels. So I remember the Hive one was one of the bigger ones that I actually worked on.
Gotcha.
And yeah, once that was coming out the door, it was like a couple months, like 2 months before it shipped and stuff. I moved over to Fifth Cell.
Nice. That's what's up, man. Lot of history. I think someone's mic's up low because I could hear myself echoing. There you go. But yeah, man, like that is tremendous, man. And I think the last thing I wanted to ask you in reference to history was just that, what do you think like the biggest misconception that gamers have about video game environments and level design? Like, just in general, like what do you think gamers have wrong about what you're doing?
Oh God,
he's low key want to say everything.
Because a lot of games like, I don't understand why they can't do X, Y, and Z and this level. Like, what can you give us some ideas, like to kind of educate us? What may not be as easy to kind of manipulate, or just things that you've experienced?
So I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you can take any part of a game and slap it into another. So taking something like, say Destiny, and saying, why isn't there like a battle royale mode in here? Like 100 people in there. It's not straightforward. There's the core of the game is built usually to sustain a thing, where you're not going to build the systems the same way you would on a racing game versus a fighting game, right? In a fighting game, you don't need probably as hard of a streaming technology because you're not moving from area to area. Whereas like in a racing game, you're driving through an entire city at really high speed. So you can figure out how to the consoles are limited, right? They have like a certain amount of memory, same as a computer, so they're limited in a certain way. So you have the spec that you need to work with
within that space.
And it has to be able to load that stuff. It has to be able to remove it. And a lot of the times we make some sacrifices, or we, make some decisions in order for you to have a better experience. So for the thing to run smoothly, or as smooth as it can be, we can't add more content. We can't add a more polished animation to the character or something like that. There's things that just can't happen. So like I hear a lot of things like that where it's like, well, why can't he just like,
why can't State of Decay put in the battle royal mode? That's the question. That's the question. We are upset. I'm just joking.
I'm gonna step away from that one. So it's stuff like that even me as a gamer, I'm like, oh, just do this, just do that. But when you start really thinking about it, it's the systems are built to do a certain thing, and they're built to do it as well as it can. So for you to throw some other kind of design feature in there, it just throws a wrench and might make the core experience a lot worse if you do that. So it takes time, it takes planning and stuff. So even a small feature will take a long time. I look at, for example, Destiny, and how long have people been asking for a collection screen? And we just now got it, and I can only imagine the amount of work and the amount of forethought that went into
do that
even though it looks very simple. It looks like they just added a section in the menu. I don't even want to even assume what kind of work went into that. So I think that's the biggest misconception. Even something very small, the amount of cost that it has, because you're taking focus away from something else that developers are working on. Work on that part.
A lot of things, shout out to Lord Yepez I was listening to yesterday. Something as simple as adding a menu. It's hard to tell how many languages the game supports, so they got to go and do every independent language. Menus usually lead to sub-menus, so you have to do the menu, then the sub-menu, and most of the time they have multiple sub-menus, so you have to do them too in like 10 different languages. You have to restructure the UI to add these new menus.
We're definitely in the era of games as a service, and that provides us very, very different challenge, because before you would think about the game as an end-to-end product. Like you ship it, maybe you update it once or something, but it's like it lives within itself. And now you don't. You have to think about, like, if this game takes off, and we hope that it does, like, how do we plan on sustaining it?
Exactly.
How are these systems going to be flexible enough for us to make changes that change maybe the core of it or something, or better the life, or to help us introduce new features into it? So the design is just so much more complicated now. You have to think a lot further through. And going back to the original question, like the thing that I think gamers like throw out a lot is that I see a lot of hate and I see a lot of anger over games, and it's a little bit sad, because games they're entertainment. They're there for us to enjoy and to take us out of reality, to experience something. So for people to get so upset about stuff in general, it's kind of sad. I hope that they could just go and enjoy it, but because you're a really, really good gamer, it doesn't necessarily mean that the design ideas that you have or the features that you think are going to make sense in that game. And because of the reasons that I explained before, right? You got to think about the systems, the technology, and stuff like that. So because I love food doesn't necessarily mean that I know how to cook it perfect.
There we go.
So preach.
It's that. It's don't assume that the developers are either being lazy or not listening to you.
So all the developers are not lazy. Okay, see, that's what I needed to. I needed
They
to
don't
hear
have
that.
infinite amounts of cash and unlimited time. They can't do anything. They're not omnipotent. No.
Look, man, I'm a strong believer that every developer.
We have a life as well, so I mean,
I'm a strong believer that every developer has that Control-Alt-Delete button that will fix everything. Okay,
That's the problem with the youth.
it is what it is.
But yeah, I think almost all developers are always listening. They're always like trying to see how people are experiencing their games and see whether they can make it better or if there's another one or what. They just take those lessons and bring them forward into whatever they're working on next, or if it's the same title or not, stuff like that. We're always learning from what we did, even the stuff that we think was great. We start seeing players either play them differently or the way we're not expecting to, and so we take that into consideration. Like, okay, well, players usually tend to do this, so how do we accommodate for that stuff?
No, I hear you, man.
We're always learning, we're always listening and stuff, and so we might not engage all the time on one-on-ones with people, but we're always aware.
No, listen, man, you just dropped some knowledge right there. I'm so glad you said that, because again, that is definitely a big misconception. A lot of gamers do think it's just so easy for them to fix it just because they either skilled at the game or they have experience with a title or a franchise, and they think it's so easy. It's just like flipping a switch. And why can't you guys do that? So I'm very glad that you clarified that. That was cool. So what we're going to do before we move on to these topics real quick is pretty much to ask you the question that we ask all the guests in the realm. I need the top 5 games or franchises of all time. Lord Luis, you're on the spot.
Oh my God, you're making that one a hard one.
Let's go.
I can probably get them, but not in order.
Any order.
Metroid.
Metroid,
the Prime series. Just
woo! Okay.
That's right.
What else?
He said that's right.
Zelda. Almost
Zelda. Everyone's got Zelda. Zelda's like our leader right now.
Yeah, Zelda for me. What else do we got?
I feel like that's the reason Zelda did so well when Breath of the Wild came out. Like, if you look at how many guests have said Zelda, I think every guest we've ever had has said Zelda.
It's almost like an 80% ratio.
Yeah, if you think of that, just the small amount of people we've had on the show, and they all say Zelda. The fact that you play Zelda for years the way we did, and then you play Breath of the Wild, I think that's the reason it took off.
Nostalgia. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I enjoyed Breath of the Wild a lot for what it did. But when I meant this one, I was thinking about like Wind Waker.
King is loving you.
Wind Waker is one of the best Zeldas. Facts. Wind Waker is one of the best.
No, mine is Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
that's the one.
That's the one that Addict. He's like going against me, but I use my Wii remote. Shut up.
No. So we got that. We got Zelda. We got the Prime series.
Oh my God, I'm just such a big gamer that I'm having a really hard time narrowing it.
But I heard you say Silent Hill / Resident Evil. Are though any of those in there?
Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is definitely up there.
Okay.
That one.
I need to play these Silent Hill games, man. I ain't never played any of them.
I don't
wait. What?
What's funny is I was bored at work like a year ago, and I literally ruined every Silent Hill by watching like a history of all the Silent Hills. So like I already know it all because I always thought the universe by Silent Hill was fascinating, but I ain't gonna lie, I was on some punk mode. That shit scared me.
No, Silent Hill is definitely yeah. Silent Hill is you got to be.
You would never look at mannequins the same.
Yes.
Ever.
There's that the Battlefield series.
Oh, okay.
Battlefield
God, nice.
Definitely is one for me. And
what else?
Man, I'm having a really hard time here.
Everyone gets I got you the hot seat. I'm trying to think.
Well, I mean, Soul Reaver for sure, just because
because that influence it had on
you.
Yes.
Yeah, so that one is
the epiphany moment.
I want to count it, but at the same time I don't, because it's like this one-off thing, but it's a thing that just cemented a lot of stuff for me. So
absolutely. Listen, this is your list. This is your personal list that had the most effect on you as a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny is definitely up there.
Let's go.
Yo, that was a little extra, man. Extra.
It's the first time it made the list.
Yeah, listen.
I'm excited.
Look, everybody is playing.
The reason The reason it makes
said other first person, but yeah,
it's because
So
you know,
tell them why.
I've played PC games and stuff like that, but I'm not a huge PC gamer.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the experiences that Destiny is providing is a lot of console players are experiencing for the very first time. So it's not to say that they're like the first ones to do it or they're the ones that do the best, but they are definitely doing it the best that has ever been seen on consoles.
Let's go.
So I played WoW when it came out. I played it during Cataclysm era and stuff like that quite a bit. And so a lot of that stuff was really interesting to me. And I was enjoying Destiny 1 quite a bit when I was playing that. And it wasn't until we did the raid that figuring out the what do they call I'm spacing out their name.
The Vault of Glass with the oracles and all that?
The oracles.
Yes.
When you figured out the oracles, that just like there was this click moment of like, this is amazing. And because you had never really experienced that level of like fidelity of like shooting and having puzzle solve and
every time people like complain and say that they don't like Destiny and I love I played 500 hours of Destiny, it's just not a good game. And I think to myself, and I always think to myself, like, you clearly didn't play raids or anything like that, because whatever they explain to me, like, they never have they never talk about the raid in a positive way. They never even bring it up. I'm like, there is nothing on console that compares to playing day one on a raid.
My client is very casual, so we try to like be inclusive to a lot of people's, and a lot of our members they have families, they have small kids and stuff like that. So not everybody can game at the same rate. So we try to be very inclusive, and when the rates come out, we try not to look at anything. So we're trying to figure it out. So we might not be
we try to be casual, but Lord King David has a fraud week every week, so it's kind of hard to casually play Destiny.
Hardcore, so I can jump into LFG and go with a hardcore.
I can literally play that game for like 20 hours a week and come on here and get called a fraud weekly by this man. So
listen, that part that he's saying right there is factual. I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna deny it, because I get on that game at 5 a.m. and I get off at 6 and some change to eat and maybe jump on a little bit some more at night. But when you said the raid part and you said the oracles and figuring that stuff out, there is and that aha moment or that loot drop when you was getting Fatebringer, those moments. That's what I know why Destiny made your list. Those moments of how the raid is constructed. Because people think that, like you said, they could build games because they're so good at them. No, I'm not that. How can my hubris doesn't go that high for me to say that I can design this? I'm in awe of what you guys do and how y'all put it together and how. The level of wonder. I'm glad that you guys, as casuals, do that level of wonder and going into a raid and trying to figure it out. That's why we're trying to get this day one raid up and going. Get that 600 up and get in there. So
absolutely.
We push some people through the raid once it's been out and once we've done it that haven't said like, I have never done it. I'm like, well, we'll push you through it. Do you want it? Do you want that or not? They're like, yeah. I'd rather have it done than not done.
Absolutely. And the thing get at it, then I'll let
one of my biggest things I remember about the raid is when we were doing the cable guy thing for the Wrath of the Machines, did that lighting attack where he just wiped everyone, and I'll never forget this. Like, it was me, LordCognito, and King David, and I can't remember the other three because they weren't in this particular memory. And we're sitting there, this dude has killed us 3 or 4 times. We don't understand what we do. We're trying to take him down. We're like, I don't get it. There's got to be something else. And all I hear the next time we die is LordCognito, yo, there's lighting doors on the sides.
It's one of the most ultimate cooperative experiences. And I always tell people, who either have experienced Destiny and then they walked away, until you do a raid for the first time, and like you said, the key point Lord Louis said is console. And shout out to the PC guys. You guys have been doing it WoW and all that for a long time. So the WoW guys looking at us like, yeah, we've done that kind of stuff already.
50-man raid.
Exactly. But in the console space, right? there is nothing that competes with that. Like the 6-man cooperative experience where you're thrown into something where you all have to figure it out. You have to work cooperatively, sometimes split into groups of 3, sometimes split into groups of 2. And that builds friendships. Like when you survive a raid, like that's your brother. You know, you've been through something together. I have many people on my friend list just as a result of Destiny raids. You know what I mean? And that I'm glad you said it because it doesn't get enough credit. Besides the fantastic shooting, we already know the gunplay is almost second to none. You know, besides the artwork, besides the fantastic music, it doesn't get enough credit for. You know, that is the thing that keeps people coming back over and over again. And obviously, we know one is coming up very soon. So I'm glad you said that, man.
And there's that second level to it, right? Where like not just figuring it out, like you figure it out and there's that aha moment, but then once you get good at it too, like that just like frictionless pattern that you like, especially for I forget the name of it, like where you're lighting up the door to open it up and stuff.
Yes.
2 teams of 3 and you're cycling and you're just like a well-oiled machine.
A machine. And it's pure teamwork. It's pure cooperation. And when it's done seamless, it's just like, man, even with Lord King and them, they called fraud alert on Lord Neil, but he understands. Lord King knows how the gauntlet and Leviathan is supposed to work. So when everyone's doing their job, and especially that raid, which is very mechanic based, right? It's not a lot of shooting enemies and stuff. It's a mechanic. Everyone has to do their job. And the raid is such that if someone messes up, it'll fold the rest of the team.
Oh no, absolutely. The gauntlet in particular is I love everything they've done, but the gauntlet is like my least favorite one.
I agree because you can do your best job, but if someone else doesn't, the experience is ruined.
The level of
I'm usually a runner when it comes to that one, so I'm always going in as a runner, and so I'm pretty good at it. But the reason I don't like it is because it's the only part of a raid that I've ever experienced in Destiny where your intuition is actually backwards of what you should be doing.
Yes, that messes me up.
I don't know why they did that. It was like to throw you off or something. I don't know what it was, but it's like the way that you think you should be shooting at the lights and stuff like that. Like, it took us so long.
Yes, King knows, because King, I always tell him, I was like, hey, you shoot the bottom, I shoot the top. That's the only thing mentally that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and so like just once we figured it out, it was like, okay, I get it now. But it didn't have that aha moment.
Yes.
For me, it's the only part of all the raids that haven't had that, because it felt like, oh, you were just trying to trick me into doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it mentally messes with you. That's a great point, man.
The mechanics and everything of it are great, but just the messaging with the lights, I think, is backwards, and it feels to throw you off on purpose instead of like being clever about it.
It's funny.
I love that raid singles the mess up guy out. like if you're doing dogs and they say your name at the bottom, Lord King David has been found. Like yo, stop! What are you doing? And everybody turns over because you have to have blind faith that the guy next to you, you can't look over at his screen because you're gonna mess up what you're doing. So you have to just stay focused on your specific position.
Yeah.
And if you do it right, you gotta hope that guy to the right of you or that guy to the left of you is doing their job.
Facts.
Because if it's not, you can tell.
I'll never forget when that Leviathan came out. We had a raid team. We got to the dogs, and then the raid team just completely broke down. And I literally kept LFGing for 2 days and finally got past the dogs. And it's like, I learned how to do the dogs in a way. It's like I ascended. It was I'm on a completely different level.
He's got that thing mastered.
For a long period of time, I would never do the raid if Lord Attic wasn't the lead dog guy. If he was not the lead dog guy, I was not doing the raid.
What's funny is the reason he started doing it is because I was teaching other people how to do the dogs in the clan.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the type of relationships you form. We got to get moving. We got a lot of show to go.
Let's go.
That's a tremendous 5, man. Lord Louis, salute for putting that Destiny in there too. I'm very happy.
Giving me goosebumps. First time a guest gave me goosebumps.
Goosebumps right there, man. Very excited. So last week's poll results are in, and the people have spoken to the question: before a highly anticipated AAA game is released, how important are initial negative impressions, videos, or articles to you? The winner at 67% in a dominant 4-way ILP poll is the no. I buy whatever games I love regardless. Coming in at 12%, actually in the second place tie to the first time ever. That the first was that if there are negative impressions, I wait to buy group, and only if the Spider-Man puddles and horses in Red Dead are in that was the time for second place, y'all. And coming in at last place at 9% was the yes, negative impressions are important. It's all fair game group. Thanks to all the lords who participated in the poll. Lord Saw, what do you think about that, man?
Can I say, like, for me, honestly,
wake up. That's what it says. Wake up. Somebody caught you napping. That's what happened.
You lulled me to sleep with your destiny talk.
I know.
Yeah. Knock the cobwebs off of him.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Pretty much the question for Lord Destiny Snoring Slav is it was pretty much, when a AAA game was released and negative impressions come out, the initial ones, like the Spider-Man puddle controversy, the supposedly boring horse simulator controversy.
Listen, if I'm psyched for a game, I'm gonna purchase it regardless. If I'm on the fence about a game, then I do like to get general impressions about it just to see if it's worth me spending my money on. But if I'm psyched about something, it's hard for me to be swayed from that.
I just want to know one thing from you, Sovereign. I gotta know this question.
What would that be?
Are you so Red Dead's a day one for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna wait for the Switch version?
Shade.
I think it's good that you do podcasting because comedy is not in your future.
Divert the question, man. Are you waiting for that Switch version?
And on that note, we'll be getting into these.
But let's do it.
Let's do it. You are up. Spider-Man.
Yes, finally.
I know you've been waiting. You've endured all this destiny.
Listen,
Lord Louis.
I'm amongst enemies today. I'm in the trenches with the enemies today.
You are the most versed on the round table. Spider-Man is out in the streets. Please, Lord Solve, tell us what's going on.
Spider-Man is out in these streets. And let me preface this by saying I'm a Batman guy. That's my character.
Awesome.
So I always go in with some predisposed.
He's even gonna heighten the Spider-Man experience by saying, "And I'm a Batman guy, so that's saying something." I'm picking Spider-Man over Batman.
Right, it's true.
Or he's gonna lower Spider-Man's experience by saying, "But I like Batman more."
No, but you know what it is? I've never gravitated to Spider-Man gameplay. Right. So it's and this game. Let me first say, like, when I think about this game, I think about certain words that, like, to me, it's love, it's reverence, and it's respect for the source material. And I think they hit all three of those things with this game. I think Spider-Man fans, Marvel fans, finally have their game that's at the caliber of an Arkham game. Like, I really do finally feel it's gotten there.
I think it's better than the Arkham games.
I think it depends. It's better mechanically. Mechanically, moving around and traversal for me in this game is the biggest thing that they did.
One of the biggest things that I wasn't feeling about the game is I could fall like a 40-story building, hit straight on the ground, and take no damage whatsoever.
Well,
I'm like, yo, that's a little ridiculous.
I get that, but I mean, they wanna. You have to balance stuff like that with a superhero, right? I think they want you to feel empowered in a way that, hey, whatever. Like that was a decision they made not to do. I can see if you get knocked off a building or something like that, taking the damage, but for you doing it yourself, like diving into like the superhero.
It should be worse if you do it yourself.
But you're saying Arkham. Batman, where his superpower is his wallet. His wallet can't cushion him from dying. So Spider-Man.
But I think to me, the traversal in this game is the best traversal in any open world game. Period. They really nailed it. They absolutely nailed the feeling of Spider-Man. And they made it intuitive in a way that after 15-20 minutes, I was flying around Manhattan. Like nothing, like just swinging right into like a zip line thing where then you get bounce, you use your momentum to bounce forward. And it's absolutely amazing what they did with the traversal in this game, and that's what makes it feel like a Spider-Man game. It's not immune to the open world tropes that a lot of these open world games have, like, you know,
Towers,
the towers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
the repeated missions and stuff like that. But what makes it more fun than other games, and you know, I love Assassin's Creed, I love Red Dead, I love I love Grand Theft Auto. But what makes it fun is the traversal. It's Spider-Man, so you're doing it in a lot more style than you're doing any of these other games.
Absolutely, that
mine was the fighting game aspect of it when you actually got into combat.
Yes,
and the super meter was building up, and I'm like, what?
I tell you. After doing it for a while, because I haven't played that much story. I've been doing a lot of like the collectathon stuff first, getting the city stuff out of the way. So I get into
you're a completionist.
I'm a completionist. Like
I'm not about that life. I ain't going to go around town looking for
oh my god,
for the backpacks.
What it does, I know how you do. You don't play games. You eat games. You absorb them. Like you eat them. Like
he said he absorbed
games.
No, I'm sorry. Like, what kind of logic is that? Let's put book bags around that you gotta go find. Like, that makes no sense. What? Is there money in the book bag? Like, what's in the book bag?
It kind of makes sense because
Spider-Man, like that he would leave them out there for 8 years. No, it doesn't make sense that he would leave them out there for 8 years.
Yeah,
but
and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I just remembered I left ID chips in it, so I can find the rest." I'm like, "Why? Like, why?
They need to give you something to do." But like I said, for Spider-Man,
about them book bags. You don't care about them book bags, dude.
For
just
Spider-Man, it works. For Spider-Man, it works because it's so much fun getting around. Like, it's not like Assassin's Creed. You get to a place, oh, I gotta go open up that tower. I gotta go up there and dive off of it. Right? It's not nearly as fun as getting there.
I noticed another thing on
the thing that I noticed too, like you bring up Assassin's Creed, like, because I've been playing quite a bit of Spider-Man as well.
Right.
The last Assassin's Creed, as great as it is, the traversal has kind of lost a little bit from what the original one was, where you're actually puzzle solving how to get somewhere.
Absolutely. Like, in terms of the first two Assassin's Creed, Brotherhood, I mean, there were puzzle elements to the traversal, especially when you went into like this, when you were able to go into indoor environments.
And now that stuff is gone. And in Spider-Man, like, the thing I've been finding, like, you can't just web swing anywhere. Like, you do have to be near some structures and stuff like that to be able to do it. Right. There is more of,
but you could go full speed straight into a building and somehow start rushing. Never mind. Let's
wait. Come on, Addict.
So, like, jump up. I think.
How are you getting mad at the lack of realism in a Spider-Man game?
I'm trying to understand it. Are you trying to badmouth the game from doing it?
No, I'm just pointing out some of the things I think is funny about it. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Batman games. I love them. I beaten them all.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I literally just said it's better than those games.
But I would argue that instead of taking damage, what they do punish you with is that you lose momentum. So you can't. That flair that you have by keeping up your momentum and building up speed, you lose that, right? When you hit, so you don't lose health, but you lose flair, is what I would say. I have to kind of like build up my momentum again, start getting into the swing of it again before I can start doing all those cool moves and stuff like that you can just do. So I do think they have a little bit of a punishment, even though it's not as directed to the player.
Right.
You are losing something by like diving onto the floor. You lose that momentum and that speed and those like great moves because you can build up experience. At least I was building up experience from doing it. So
I mean, they're achievements. They're trophies for being able like to scale across the city without touching anything, right? And seeing how long you can stay sort of up in the air. And like Lewis said, like jumping off of like structures and stuff like that to keep your forward momentum going. It's an exhilarating experience that no other game does. Period. So in terms of the combat, like King was saying. Initially, I like the fact that they give you so many tools to play with. And like a lot of these games, what happens is that you tend to start gravitating to the ones that you like the most.
Right.
But so it can be overwhelming, all the things you can do, and you're not going to remember all the moves that you can do according to the situation that you're in. It's just a lot of stuff. So you will start gravitating to the stuff that you like most. But I like the fact that they give you so many options to cater the experience to how you want to. Like when you unlock everything, you can create the Spider-Man that you want, and you can play it the way you want.
I do have a question since you're a little bit further than me. Is there like a true stealth mechanic to this game anyway?
There is stealth. It doesn't. I mean, you don't necessarily need it. I'm assuming there are some story elements that want you to be stealthy. Especially, I know I've heard that like when you play as other people other than Spider-Man, there are stealth elements that are not super great. But as Spider-Man, I've done it. It's cool, but ultimately, I haven't been to a place where it requires stealth completely and is like a fail state if you don't finish it stealthily. Like oftentimes I could take out like snipers stealthily and then just start fighting the other guys. So that's what I've seen so far. So there's a stealth.
Wait till the Black Cat stuff that comes out in the DLC.
Yeah.
Let the whole game
shout out to
come out.
J-Dubs in the building. Oh man.
Who's in the building?
J-Dubs in the chat. He's in the chat right now. He's on Twitter.
He
already knew he's here for Spider-Man.
He came and he heard this, but he had us probably on speaker.
No, he probably
inside the
heard
other
Addict
room.
hating because the chat.
Yeah.
No, I just
Addict for hating on
tweeted it.
Spidey. He
I
said,
just
Addict, why do
tweeted
you even game? This man speed runs. So they're like, this is Spider-Man. What kind of
I
logic
just
is
tweeted
that?
it on Twitter. That's why that fraud's in here.
Oh, hey.
Anchorman says none of you are qualified to talk about Spider-Man. Oh,
Listen,
Let me go next on the Spider-Man.
wait a second. This ain't Fallout Spider-Man. What is this fraud doing in this room?
Shout out to
I know
Anchorman.
Anchor's beef. I already know Anchor's beef.
Anchor's beef is regards to the suits, right?
Right.
He's saying that how is the black costume not in it? He was just like, he's a little upset
They
about.
don't acknowledge it.
he's upset about the authenticity of certain suits just not being available.
Right.
This is not Bethesda. Take your Bethesda trolling someplace else.
I think they're gonna. You know what I think they're gonna do? I think they're waiting for that for a little bit closer to that Venom game coming out, and then they're gonna drop
for the
license.
DLC.
But you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna put out a Fallout suit on Spider-Man, and then Anchor could be quiet. Fallout Spider-Man.
On your assessment.
So besides that, like the combat stuff, like I said, like I just like the fact that ultimately you can craft the type of Spider-Man that you want. Every suit that you unlock comes with a specific power, but it's not locked to that suit. If you can play with whatever suit you like best, and then attach whatever power you like best to that. So then again, like so you can use the Iron Spider legs on like whatever regular other Spider-Man suit that you want. And so it's cool. You can mix and match and do whatever you want and make him your own Spider-Man.
Nice.
In terms of the look, in terms of story, let me speak about that quickly. What I've seen so far, because I've been doing a lot of this, the cleaning up the map stuff, so I haven't done a lot of story. What I've
You've
seen
been collecting book bags.
Exactly. I finished that already. I finished that already. Yeah, I finished that.
It's better than going from spot to spot in God of War collecting these little whack things.
I didn't
do that either.
I did that too. So, so when it comes to that, the story, from what I've seen so far is well acted. It seems like it's gonna take some dark turns, which is good. I didn't want it to feel too sort of like fluffy and not happy-go-lucky, although the world sort of feels that way a little bit. So I'm excited to see where the story goes. In terms of the look of the game,
we had a violation in the chat just now.
What did they say?
Lord Anchorman says
Spider-Man. Of course he would say that. He's
still the best Spider-Man game today. That we have to throw a flag on the field. There's a violation going on in here.
Violation.
I'm sorry, Saul.
Just hold up. I just got a quick question for Lord King David. We know how he is. We've went into this multiple times of comics. Do you think Anchorman has the right to judge this game off the comics?
Nope.
I think it's
Lord Victor Alistine says that he feels it feels more like the movies than the comics of the game.
I think it's walking that line. It's walking that line between both. It's referential to both. And it shows respect to both, and it's kind of doing its own thing.
Okay, let me just clear this up real quick. There's a thing called the Spideyverse. All right, and I want Lord Anchorman, but Anchorman. I want you to understand there's a thing called the Spideyverse, and in the Spideyverse, all Spider-Man things are possible. This is a chapter in the Spideyverse. All right, so that wipes away any crap that you want to talk about this being there and that being there. It doesn't necessarily has to be canon for this part or that part in this Spider-Man world. This is a separate world in the Spideyverse. That's why the suit looks the way the suit does, and it's not the traditional suit. Even though they have the traditional suit in there, this is a Spideyverse game. This is their take on Spider-Man. All right.
I mean, Batman's only powers, he got good credit.
Like people are getting introduced to Spider-Man with this game too because of the new Spider-Man movie that came out not that long ago, right? Compared to like the Tobey Maguire ones or like the comics before that, the cartoon and stuff. I think there's a big audience that is just now learning about these characters.
Turning on to Spider-Man, exactly.
But Lord Delapo, he's saying that sounds like a lazy writing cop out.
Well, you know, that may be for you, but that's a way around being very strict and being very one-sided with something. They're giving you their take on Spider-Man. They're giving you their take on the world. So everything is not going to be 100% as the books say. You know,
I understood that. Why would you want the same content that you get in a different medium regurgitated in this medium?
But Sovereign, so they can complain that it never changes. You understand? So the fact that they stole their complaint away, your complaint is stolen. So you're sitting there angry like, it's not the same. Because you wanted to yell out, it's the same. So away with you. Into the bushes with
Let me go now.
All right, finish up, Solve. Then we get Addict. Then we get Lord.
So, real quick,
an amazing like Spider-Man game. Like I'm so happy about that.
Nice.
And that's exactly what it is. It is an amazing Spider-Man game that makes you feel like Spider-Man. And any superhero game has to make you feel like the hero that is emulating, and it does that to a T. Real quick, in terms of the look of the game, the game is absolutely gorgeous. I think the use of HDR in this game is fantastic. There's no real day-night cycle, but there's particular scenes that leave you in daytime or nighttime. Both of them look equally spectacular. The only thing, rain effects aren't that great in this game, so I would have to say in terms of look, I still give the Arkham games a little push in terms of graphics and overall look of the game, especially Arkham Knight. But
do you think the reason
of New York?
Do you think the reason that the rain looks so good in Batman is because it was night?
I think they really went out of their way to really make that rain like that, the ominous feeling of Gotham.
The hell with that. Do you see the draw distance in that game?
Batman games are so much smaller levels.
Exactly. You're talking about a apartment compared to a project complex.
There is a balancing act. I know full well there's a balancing act, and when it comes to, again, draw distance and the scale of New York City, nothing's done it better.
I have a quick question for Laura Lewis. When it comes to like, speaking of that, is it easier to design to do your job at like a day cycle or a night cycle? Like not both of them, just like one or the other. Because I've been told by a lot of people it's a lot easier to do stuff like that in the night cycle because you don't have to worry about like lighting effects and stuff.
Well, so it depends on what part of it you're asking, whether like if it's easier to make it look good or if it's easier to make it play good.
Make it look good.
So make it look good. It's I think it might be slightly easier at night because the reflections and stuff like that show up a lot more than in the daytime, for sure. And you can do a lot of things. Lighting does such a big job in this that you can put a light source in the level and have a lot of the crevices and stuff kind of light up and give off shadow, whereas if you're in the daytime, it's like a big floodlight, right? That is kind of washing away a lot of the details. So usually visually stuff tends to, at least in my opinion, tends to look a little bit better or more attractive in later in the day, like sunset and nighttime.
Right.
And I think like the Arkham games look amazing because for one, they have a lot of detail in a very, very small section.
Area.
Right. And then have all the custom lighting to go with it. So they have place lighting, nighttime stuff. So it kind of really accentuates what they want you to see when you have a city like Spider-Man, right? You have like the sun, and I'm sure they have a lot of other lighting techniques that help it, but you can't control the lighting as much as you can in the Arkham game. And I would actually love to see a visual comparison between like the original Arkham game and Spider-Man, because we're talking about what
Dealer did it.
Right.
An 8-year-old game at this point. So I would really like to see what the actual differences visually are, because memory might be too kind to some of those things. It's still an amazing game, but
right
about when it came out, when this one came out, Spider-Man would not look the way it does if it came out with Arkham, I don't think.
I agree. Finish it up, Solve, and then we'll get Addict in.
Real quick, a question for Lewis. So, how excited are you about, now that we're talking about lighting and all this stuff, how excited are you about ray tracing and how you think you might start implementing it, if at all, into the stuff you're working on, and looking at something like Spider-Man and whatnot? How much better? How much? Are
you talking about the new like NVIDIA stuff that was shown a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
exactly.
I haven't looked too much into it, but I did see just some of the clips and stuff. I mean, a lot of this stuff is usually bleeding edge, so it takes a little bit of time to kind of make it into like mass media, like consoles and stuff. I don't know.
It's like 5% probably using it.
But as time goes on, tech for games and stuff just gets better and better, and it actually allows us to make things that take a long time to just like happen a lot quicker, and they look a lot better because of it. So we have more time left to polish that, instead of like having to handcraft it from scratch. So there's, to me, it's just going to shortcut us into being able to polish things more and more. So pretty excited, but I don't know when it'll actually, you'll start seeing it in games and stuff. And games that are, kind of linear, you got like the Gears and stuff like that. I think they're going to take way more advantage of that kind of technology than open world games, because you're leveraging like a content in a cup versus like in a tub.
Good analogy. Good analogy. Yeah. So, Addict, man, obviously the chat is not happy with you. So, what's going on with your impressions of Spider-Man?
You know what? I was actually about to say nothing but positive stuff, but since you guys are in your, your stuff over there in the comment section, because I don't like the fact that I can be going 60 down the road and hit a wall straight up and nothing happens. No kind of the animation weird, but I ain't gonna even go into that. I'm gonna go ahead and do exactly what I was gonna do and not get you guys are crazy. I think that people like to compare this to the Arkham. They're two entirely different games. I do enjoy, Spider-Man and the overall feeling more than Arkham. I do like Arkham more when it comes to stealth, because I'm more of a stealth person. And Spider-Man, it's clear that they want you to be more, punching people than anything else. And clearly this was more directed towards the general audience than Arkham was.
T-Mang Fu coming for you. He said, Addict, get back to your speed runs. Let the gamers enjoy the game. Yo, they coming for you, bro.
I encourage you, T-Run, to go over to
Batman is just a physical fighter.
So I can time you out there. But, at the end of the day, I feel like this game is a bigger relevance than what people are thinking. It's an amazing game. I haven't even played more than 2 hours of the game, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
So yesterday,
I almost left Destiny to go play Spider-Man, and when I say almost, like I didn't do it, but I almost did.
It had that effect to almost pull you away from Destiny.
And I want to commend Insomniac for a couple of things. One thing, I want to commend them for making a great Spider-Man game. I feel like this is something that Arkham, a lot of people thought was a fluke. They thought only one studio can do it. I feel like with Spider-Man, we might start seeing good comic book superhero games in general, because now it's clear that it could sell.
Right.
Spider-Man is going to do numbers. I still don't think it's going to.
Hopefully, it sells,
but
way more than God of War.
But at the end of the day, no, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit more like, I'll give you about 70-30. I did give you 90-10.
Listen. I'm rubbing my magic Spidey ball. And it says
that's one thing I want to commend them to, because I do think with this, you'll be able to, see more of these games going forward. Like maybe we'll get a good Iron Man. I'd like to see a Black Panther game personally.
Oh yeah, that'd be lit.
And one thing I really want to point out is the game that really started comic book games starting to evolve in general, which I felt like was Wolverine back on the PS3 and 360. I feel like that opened up the doors to
Throw
more.
that game in the bushes. Be
I
quiet.
think before that,
So you can throw that in the
Yo, let me,
bushes.
let me get it. I gotta
even
jump
before
in
that,
though.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Hulk,
Yeah, let me.
Ultimate
Anchor
Destruction.
Man is dropping bombs right now, and everyone's. Potentially perfect co-signing. He's saying Arkham redefined Batman in the gaming space. He says Spider-Man on PS4 is just set out to make a good Spidey game based on what already existed. He said all the elements can be found in prior games.
That's
So
not untrue.
hold on.
That's
Let
not
me
untrue.
shoot them down right now.
Mm.
So you mean to tell me that stealth games?
That is
Look here, there's been stealth games for the longest time. We're gonna start saying Splinter Cell ain't do nothing new because it's a stealth game. Thief did stuff new because it did it 10 years ago. Stop trying to demote a game because
I think what he's saying is that the Arkham games were the first of its kind to incorporate Batman in that way. There was no Batman game like that before.
So because Spider-Man 2 existed like 15 years ago, we're going to dismiss this one.
No, not at all. But it is true. I don't disagree with that assessment. I think this is much like Mario Odyssey. It's a polishing of systems that have been there before. They just
Do
put it
not
all
let
together.
him take you down this rabbit hole. Look at him.
I'm just tired.
Listen, look at his comments. Don't give it energy and let him die out like the light bulb that he is.
No, but honestly, I think this comment from Anchor is
don't let this man in
that's
here.
hating.
It's not spot on. It's not spot on. He tries to put
for the sake of hating. And
no,
this
on the serious
note,
don't bring this man in here. We don't have time for
allow.
Sorry, Anchor.
Don't allow him.
I've been outvoted. The Lords do not.
Yeah, he can't come in here.
We don't have time for nonsense.
We don't have time for the
I
BS.
understand.
Listen, we have a hard football schedule. Let's get to the rest of these topics and don't allow him to distract you from the eyes on the prize. That man is a distraction.
Let me go ahead and finish my thought. All right.
Yo, the chat is split. Half of them saying let him in.
I don't care what the chat says. We don't got time for his nonsense.
He's not coming in here.
No, it's not afraid of facts. The game is good. Like, stop trying to.
No, we have a guest, Anchor, and it's about our guest. So you can go back in the bushes. Let's go.
Let me go and finish my one good thing I really want to condemn. Not condemn. I want to condone them is that photo mode. It's clearly helping them. I think the photo mode itself has probably sold them a couple 100,000 units by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I go on Twitter, I see that it looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to condone them on that. The game's good. I haven't even played more than 2 hours, and I'm not even joking, you guys. I was grinding like crazy yesterday on Destiny, but almost at every point that I was done with an event, I'm like, I could jump back on Spider-Man. Yeah, so I want to give them give my hats off to them. Now, was it a 97 and all that nonsense I was hearing? No, but I feel like Spider-Man is that point that we have another game that can show these developers if you make a superhero game right, people will buy it. So that's what I want to see. I want to see more well put together games than this game.
No doubt. Yeah, let me jump in real quick because obviously I probably have the least time next to King and Attic. I mean, like I said, only been about an hour and a half or whatever. But the first thing I say is obviously graphically, wow, it looks impressive. I felt one thing that was really cool was the transitions, like the seamless transition between gameplay and cinematic. I thought that was really cool. And then they have some little details that are really cool. Like when the voice actor is talking, like based on Spider-Man's exertion, it's like they redid the lines. Like if he's swinging and having a conversation, you can hear the breathing, the talk, you know what I'm saying? Like while he's exerting himself, as opposed to when he's having the same conversation, if you're stationary, his voice is different. So they got nice little touches. To Anchor's point, I do see what he's saying. Like it's probably one of those games that's not doing anything that's never been done before, but it's also, it kind of has a little Zelda in it where it's like it has all these different little systems, but it does them well. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel. I don't feel like
there a Batman game,
but it just does a lot of systems well and graphically looks great. What you saying?
When was the last Batman before the Arkhams?
Like,
the Batman. I'm gonna shut up Anchor right now.
Was there a Batman in the 3D era?
Batman Begins. Yeah, Batman Begins. That was horrible.
See,
I'm gonna give
that's
you
why
the
there's not a
Batman
whole
for
lot
the
of
turbo
comparison.
graphics.
Batman
Remember
didn't
the
have a
Batman for the
Spider-Man
turbo
2.
Yes, I
graphics?
remember that, King. Yeah.
All right, now
Batman
the
didn't
Batman
have a
for the turbo.
Spider-Man 2.
Listen. Batman for the turbo graphics was about stealth, and it was like a puzzle isometric game, or it was a top-down game. So there goes the stealth aspect of that, and that's where they basically grounded it in that, and the technology allowed them to do and use the Unreal Engine and the forces in the ways that they did. Now that's the last piece of energy anchor you're getting. You're done. All right. So there's no let them in. The door is closed.
Yeah.
We're going to keep going. We have other topics. We have a guest that is a fantastic guest with a wealth of knowledge, and we're not being dragged down your fake little rabbit hole.
The round table is not there today. You just got to get over that.
Look, final point, Lord Luis, on your impressions of Spider-Man.
I'm having a blast playing it. It's just like I said, like it feels like I'm Spider-Man when I'm playing it, and that's I think one of the things games need to do is sell you the illusion of the whatever the fantasy is.
Right.
And I definitely feel the controls felt slightly weird to me at the beginning because I was kind of expecting more of an Assassin's Creed, like just hold it and I'll be able to like swing around and kind of it doing the work for me.
Yes.
And it's not all the way there. It forces you to try to do it, and so. Once I'm playing on hard mode, I'm playing it like so that everybody's like attacking you all the time and stuff like that. And I don't know what the like normal mode feels like, but hard mode makes me feel like I'm actually Spider-Man because I'm having to like keep an eye out for everything on that like counter meter and the counter timing, looking at my environment to see if I can throw things at them and stuff. So like once I'm done with a fight, like the way I move my fingers with the controller feels like I'm actually like the character. So it's selling me the fantasy of being Spider-Man to me. And it feels like a super fun, vibrant game. That's ultimately what I think it's like giving me. It's pure joy. Whereas like Batman was, talking about Batman, it was more like I was more interested in the story and the kind of like the grimness of it and darkness and stuff like that. This, like riff with the Joker kind of thing going on. This has like this like just fun tone on it with like some seriousness happening with the story and where the characters are heading and what's actually happening with the plot. But at the core of it, it's like it's still fun, and I think like the art reflects it, the way the traversal, the combat, everything is reflecting that core pillar of it's fun to be Spider-Man. It's not like he's not a serious character. He's not like he's a young character, so it's just fun. I really enjoyed it. I think they knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely. And one last thing I want to say too is I also felt that the combat was very fluid. It was kind of like rhythm based to me. Like I like that aspect. I like when the Spidey sense went off. You press the circle, you dodge.
It was kind of weird. I ain't gonna like. It took me an hour to not get used to because in Batman, and Anchorman says start comparing them. I'm gonna do whatever I want. First off,
right.
Second off, like in Batman, when you're about to like do that sense, it pops over their head. So like I'm sitting here mentally looking for over their head, and I'm getting rocked because I'm doing that.
I love when you unlock the web. I forget what it is, the dodge with the web. So like if you dodge just in time, he does this really cool move and
perfect dodge.
Webs their face or something, and that like feels so good.
Yeah, and I think to Lewis's point, I think that the coolest part about the combat is just that learning to see the tells, like when your spider sense tingles and you're getting attacked from behind by either like a rocket launcher or a gun, and then looking at your environment to see what you can do within the environment to sort of counter that sort of stuff. That's where the fun is. Like there's a lot of countering. It's not the same way that a Batman game counters, but it's about moving around the environment and dodging this stuff and then getting back into combat. It's perfect.
So technically what you're saying is they're doing stuff that hasn't been done in a Spider-Man game before.
When it comes to combat, Spider-Man.
That's all. That's it. So let's keep rocking.
I just want to mention one more thing that and put to rest this whole Anchorman thing. Look, does this game do anything different than Spider-Man 2? In a way, no, it doesn't. But I feel like first off, Sony taking over the reins.
The only thing I can say that it does the same thing as Spider-Man 2 is swing on webs, and then even then the swinging on webs is different.
But when it comes to that perspective, yes. First off, how else do you make a Spider-Man game anyway than swinging like that? Second off, this game was clearly made by inspired by Sony because it's really cinematic. I could tell that in the first 40, 50 minutes, and just the way that they did that, how Sony, it's not even a bad thing, likes to take the controller away from you momentarily a lot throughout their games. I think it benefits Spider-Man more than it's benefited any of Sony's games because it makes you feel like you're watching a movie and you're Spider-Man at the same time.
Yeah, it just, like I said, I think Lord Louis knocked it out the park. Also, just that sense of fun and being Spidey and
being Spidey.
Exactly. So let's move on. If everyone's got their Spidey,
yes. Now we got to talk about the main event.
So obviously,
I'm going to clock out right now.
That is what Soft clocks out. Destiny 2 Forsaken is out in these streets, and obviously it launched this Tuesday, and it's pretty much, the reviews have been fairly positive, I would say, Lord King. And a lot of people out there, picking up Destiny again and playing Forsaken, having a great time with the campaign. So now when it's out in the streets, it's been a couple days now. The question to the round table: is it safe to say Destiny 2 is back? So I want to get Lord Louis, resident Destiny fan here. You've got the outstanding Warlock shirt on, sizzling. What do you think after playing?
Yeah, no, I think it's back. I think it's recouped all the little hiccups that it had. I've been playing it a lot since launch, and I didn't play the last DLC as much at Warmind. Because I knew they were going to fix a lot of these things. I was also busy at the time and stuff like that. So a lot of factors, and the breadth of content that is in there is just it's great to see that. It's great to see that I can actually go about achieving things in different ways, like all kinds of different activities. So it's actually kind of too much.
It's overwhelming sometimes with all the things you could do, right?
Yeah, I don't think I've completed any of my weeklies yet, even though I've been playing quite a bit, because actually they definitely require you to do a lot more, but you can choose the activities that you're going to engage with. So I'm really happy with it. I think the story was great. There's a couple of things that bugged me about the story because I feel that they assume a lot of this deeper lore that's not necessarily explained unless you're digging into the grimoire and a lot of this stuff. So that's an issue that's I think always bugged me a little bit about the story side of Destiny, but I'm enjoying it a lot. I jump in with my clanmates and we're just going at it.
Nice.
So I think it's back. I definitely see it as me logging in weekly to do stuff in it instead of waiting for months before I jump back in.
No doubt. Eggman hating. He said the death of Cade equals death of budget. They had to kill off Cade because they couldn't afford Nathan Fillion anymore.
No, listen. Let's stop giving them energy.
Get at it.
When it comes,
I'm gonna let Attic go ahead first because he's actually, like I said, he got the badge of the week. So
I do want to point out that I don't think I want to comment on that statement real quick. I don't think they first off, Activision can afford that dude. It don't matter what he asks. And so I think it was more about time conflict that they needed to get rid of Cade.
Right.
First off, they could have easily kept Cade on. I didn't even notice that. Cognito had to tell me another dude was voicing him in this expansion.
Salute to Nolan North. Exactly.
Yeah. Second off,
he's an amazing person.
Yeah. Second off,
Nolan is amazing.
The fact that they killed him says a lot.
Right.
That means that they're okay with doing more of a dark tone storyline, because when people start killing people, that's when you know that anything is up for debate. I want to point out that they killed the most charismatic dude they had.
Yes.
So that was literally, I want to say that Cade was kind of holding the story back.
In a way, you can say that he was the comic relief that they always fell back on whenever they were kind of weaker story situations going on.
Look at it from the standpoint of how they promoted Destiny. It was Cade. He was the first commercial they showed was Cade. They ever since the Taken King, he's always had more screen time than anyone else.
But I got something I think I got a conspiracy theory that goes into that, but I want you to finish your thought.
And I think the fact that they're willing to kill the dude that they always went to sell everything shows that they're serious. That they're like, yo, we got other people. I know we haven't showed them really good to you at all, at all, but we do have other good people in this world. So what we're gonna do, because everyone only knows Cade now because of what he's done over the past couple years, we're just gonna kill him. That way you can't just look at Cade all the time. We got our Korra that clearly has emotions now. I don't know where that came from. Zavala's turned into a complete pansy. I don't know how that happened.
Put Zavala in the bushes.
Zavala's in the bushes.
Zavala needs to be 300 kicked off the tower. That's what needs to happen.
They killed the speaker in the
in D1. Yes, speaker. No,
see, but like I get that. Like the speaker killing the. I apologize.
It was nothing. It was like it wasn't impactful, but it didn't make me care. And this one, when it happens to Cade, like the nerd in me, I was like, yes, let's get our gun, let's go revenge him. Like I was
right, absolutely. You had that incentive to really.
And they made me like Korra. I didn't really care for her before, like because I made a hunter on top of it, so I'm a little bit biased. But like it made me care about Ikora now, and Zavala, I'm like, why is he like? It's actually making me not hate him, but I'm like, dude, like
question his loyalty.
How you not gonna ride for your vanguard? Like,
and you know, she just made me want to say yes. Let's do it. Let's go avenge him.
That's where I think that they're gonna go. I think that in the story they want you to think that Zavala is incapable of doing what he's doing. I think they want you to think he's incompetent because I do feel like they're going to bring a character that I personally think that they're setting up for Osiris to take over the tower.
Hey, I'm about that.
Because for some reason they're wanting everyone to think that Zavala is incompetent because they want some kind. I mean, even our chorus said we don't see eye to eye on anything anymore. So I think that they're eventually going to have some kind of civil war.
Yeah. All right, now getting to my conspiracy theory, they prop Cade up knowing.
Let me get my 10-4 hat. Give me a second.
Yeah, they propped him up. They made you love him. They made you fall in love with his comic relief. They made you fall in love with his egocentric, his quips. They made you fall in love with this character because he was central to it. Like he was in the marketing. He was here. He was pushed there. He was pushed there. And they knew once those numbers started dipping that they were going to blow his brains out. All right. So the numbers dipped. All right. People were away from Destiny. People were complaining. And they took the casuals and they threw the casuals in the bushes. The casuals are gone. Like if you are a casual, this game will overwhelm you. It will crush you. It will test your resolve. And you may give up and say, well, I can't make that light level. Because when I go into the Nightfall and I see question marks, you can either say, I'm not going back in there because they're question marks, or I'm going to level up, so go in there and kick their behinds because I have to get this powerful gear. So when they stop catering to the casuals and they kill Cade, they let you know that they was completely 100% serious. Now, there's parts that you see when you look at your map that you're like, the art design is insane.
Yeah.
You go from section to section, and I know as an artist, Luis, you can appreciate going into the Dreaming City, looking at a rock formation that's red or magma color, and in the same rock formation, there's a crystallis that is blue, that is see-through, that is completely different. And then you have the smoke on the floor. It's a different direction. It's the tone in the music is different. It's ominous. It's taunting. And it's giving you that feeling when you're doing these little missions and you're going here and you're going there. It's so much stuff to do that everybody on my friends list, and we have in our clans list 4 pages up per day, literally, of people doing stuff, wanting to be in the A team, wanting to be in the B team, trying to get ready for this raid. And they'll jump in there, ask your question, what can I do for this? And I tell them, yo, shout out to Cactus. Go look at Cactus video real quick. Or shout out to Houndish. Go check out Houndish video real quick. And make sure that you understand where we are and what we have to do. And also shout out to Bife. Go check out Bife stuff to make sure that you see exactly what you're supposed to do. Listen to the flashpoints when the flashpoints come up so you know where we're at. And if you see any lords, ask them. this has been the most clan intensive DLC, and it transformed everything. That now you have to do stuff with classmen.
Yeah.
You understand?
Absolutely.
So when I see Sovereign on, I know it's serious.
Fact.
Like I know it's serious. Like he jumps in and he's like, "Yo, I'm here for the day." What? And the tone has changed. So just like Louis said, is it Taken King? Is it back? Yes, it's back. The numbers will reflect it. I know when the MPDs come out, the numbers will reflect that it's coming back. That's the only reason why I was afraid for Spider-Man after this DLC. Because like Lord Addict said, he had Spider-Man there. He's like, I could go do it, but I have to do this.
You know, the thing about it is that when you like with Destiny, it's so group intensive. That Spider-Man is something you can get to on your own and you play at your leisure, and you don't have to worry about affecting anybody else. With Destiny, like if y'all all in there and y'all need to get something, that's the ideal time to do it. There's no way around it.
And you know what I wanted to really point out that I'm really impressed by is up until now the raid has kind of felt like just something that's just thrown in. Like in this, like the only other time that I could say that that to my knowledge had any connection to the raid, because on Oryx, unless you did the side quest at the end, like you didn't even know why you was fighting Oryx at the end. Like you thought you killed him, he's ascended somehow. Like, but on the you know, they did it on Wrath of the Machine where you can do some stuff and it would actually tell you why you're going to this. But in the actual this one, you actually have lore going up to it. Like you actually, you know, have people telling you why you need to go do this. So it feels like, you know, you have like 3 points of it. You have the beginning to where, you know, what's going on, the middle to where, you know, you defeat Oldron or whatever his name is. And then, you know, then you have the raid that feels like it's actually part of the expansion. And not just something that tacked on at the
side room B.
Yeah, man. Let me jump in. I mean, it is definitely. I mean, shout out to Bonds. We had a big discussion about this on the on Flashpoint about, you know, is it safe to say it's back? And you know, from the beginning, the way the characters are handled, the way the story is handled, you can tell immediately there's a difference. I mean, even from the cinematics to transition, you know, after what happens, obviously with Cade, the result, the effect of it, and then the hunt for the Barons. I thought the fights were done exceptionally well. You know what I mean? As far as the DLC overall, it just seems like a love letter to the hardcore, kind of like what King is saying, where it's like everything that we've wanted from D1, not only is it back, it's just not that it's back, it's been improved upon. Right. So it's just so many new things. You got the random rolls, you have, you know, the weapon placement, you have the grind being back. And then to what Lord Addict's saying with the Dreaming City. Like when you get to that, everything sequentially leads up to something else. So the grind is actually, it means something. It's rewarding to get farther. And when you see it, I mean, that thing looks like it's straight out of like Tolkien. Like this is
let me tell you that the exotics are real in this. I even got a new exotic.
Let me ask you a question. Has anybody done the strike that takes you back to the Prison of Elders?
Oh my God, the strike is done so well. Like it's fantastic.
They actually make you feel like you're participating in Prison of Elders.
Prison of Elders. Exactly. That is the best strike that I've played so far.
He's saying the phrases he said in Destiny 1. Dismantle the mind.
Yes. What? Just the setups leading up to it. So again, it's just like all I'm gonna say is for those who are on the fence, who are still like, look, I'm not there. I don't trust him. Y'all said this, you know, with D2. I would say wait for the raid. Let's see how they finish that off. Because right now, everything leading up to that and the launch of this game has been fantastic. I'm pretty confident based on what I've seen in the Dreaming City, the Blind Well, all that stuff. This looked like it has the feeling like it's going to be an epic raid, right? It has the feeling like this is something special coming. So I would say for those on the fence, you can still wait. It's cool. You know, see what happens that way. The raid on Friday. See how the community absorbs it. See how people feel about it. But if you are or like thinking about it, I'd say do it. I say do it.
Yeah, the thing about this expansion that I think is feels very different from Taken King 2 is that it feels that they've paved the way a little bit of how they're going to be addressing the game in the future.
Yes.
So it's not like Taken King was the best of what vanilla had to do and fixing all the problems. This feels like they've changed drastically what those systems do, how they interact with you in order to pave what they're going to be doing next. So I'm actually very excited for the next year of Destiny content coming out. And see how it actually plays through. It just feels so good right now.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. It doesn't feel like Taken King. It feels different from it in a really good way.
Absolutely. And again, just those core things that we always love. The shooting mechanics still second to none. The soundtrack, the music is amazing. Still, like I said, some of the most best cooperative things in gaming. The grind is there. The difficulty is there. This game makes it very clear. If you are not ready for something, you have no business being there. Like the game, like it'll be like you shoot people, kick, it'll be like immune. Like you have no business in certain zones. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I got to say on this.
And take it back to Destiny 1 when you went in the wrong area and he was like immune. What? I gotta get out of here. I gotta get a friend.
Absolutely, man. So, have you got anything else to say on there? Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I don't mind grind. What I mind is repetition. And like grind doesn't bother me. Like, dude, you see the way I play games, grind doesn't bother me. It's the repetition in doing the same actual activities to grind. Gotcha. So I think, like what Lewis said, like I like the fact that they've taken this. They've taken this and they've laid the groundwork for what's to come, both in terms of story and in terms of like under the hood mechanics. Some of the stuff you guys are talking about, like with the conspiracy theories, I would love them to, because for me what they did with this is that they Game of Thrones you, right? They made you love something and they took it away and they said no, we're not giving it back to you. You know what I mean? And that works to motivate people, right? To come back to the game and to feel like they're getting revenge for Cade. And I think it would be great if the next step beyond that, like we were talking about, like Zavala's falling off, like people losing confidence in Zavala. What if there is the next big thing is a civil war amongst the Guardians? That would be amazing to me.
First thing I'm doing is killing Zavala.
and then also like the tone of the game once Cade is gone. I mean, that music is very like funerals. Like the fact is there. Like they still have to replace a Hunter Vanguard. Then you have a new character with the Drifter. Like there's still now.
I don't like how they did the Drifter. I don't. I don't like how they just throw him in there.
No, but let me explain something. You didn't do the quest I told you to. You have to get the Ace of Spades.
Well, I get that, but like I'm talking about.
That's going to answer your question. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you do the Ace of Spades quest, it's basically Cade's will. He's going to talk about. You have to find these stashes. He's going to talk about every single remaining character left in the universe. Right, but it's done from a joke perspective, as if when you find his stash, so if you found this, that means you killed me. So here's a letter to you, and it's the greatest. Not only is it done with humor, it's the greatest story from Cade, period. And he's going to get to the Drifter, spoiler, and you're going to find out. And there's also some foreshadowing there. Trust me when I tell you.
Don't tell me no, because I'm really trying to finish that up today.
That quest.
So do you guys
we can do it today, Attic. We'll do it together.
Do you guys think you need another sort of comedic character to sort of, because it seems like the game is going to be like this solemn tone from now on.
I don't want a replacement for him. I don't want a replacement. I want a character that stands alone. Right. I want them to be strong now, because right now they look weak. And the stuff that's happening, because when Cade was going out, when he was going down, when he shot the thing and he rode it like a
what part got me the most?
What
is like that feeling I had when Cade brought out his ghost and they shot it, and then he was just like, "I'm coming home, Ace." I'm like, "Damn, I feel that."
It made my daughter cry. Yeah. It made my daughter cry
because the moment he said that, he knew he was dead. Like he knew he was dead.
She said she lost two of her favorite characters in 1 year: Spider-Man and Infinity War. She bawled out of control. Like she couldn't take it.
Yeah, I mean, let's just give credit is due. I mean, they definitely
they did it.
He went out like a G. Like if you want to see someone go out in a blaze of glory, like it don't get no better than that. Like they did.
He went out his way.
His way.
His way. Like he was tearing them up. And if you did see the story, watch the story. If you didn't play it yet, get to playing it. It is how you kill off a beloved character while giving them props at the same time.
Exactly. And again, for those who want clarity after that, please do the Ace of Spades quest. It is fantastic. No one wanted to
middle of that one. Yeah.
Please get that done. Very important. And it's the cherry on the sundae to the whole Cade saga and storyline.
One thing I did want to regardless what they made Zavala into, I don't even think necessarily he's a pansy or anything. They made him into that character that's like, I've been through so much, I don't want to go through anymore. It's like he's completely withdrawing on everything.
He's old Batman.
He wants to just sit in his little ivory tower and not engage in anything. He just wants to defend. He is a defending Titan. So so they kind of made him into that veteran with PSD. I don't want to do anything else.
I don't want to lose any more friends.
And the thing is, he's actually foreshadowing. He's doing a lot of foreshadowing as to why he feels that way. There's going to be repercussions, so to speak.
Yeah, and then you got Ikora that they built onto where she's never showed emotion up to this point. She even said it. She's like, Cade was like the only person left that, I even engage in any kind of talking to. Like, he was the only person I talked to. He's like, me and Zavala don't really see eye to eye on anything. And she even me and LordCognito, we actually Failsafe actually said stuff on.
Failsafe was really cool. Yeah, when you go see
her.
So
I like how I don't want someone to replace Cade. I want them to build on the existing characters they have now. And that's what they're doing.
Absolutely.
The story finally got right, guys? I mean, can we all agree that all the time they talked about story and it's going to be so much and they lied, and this time they were actually telling the truth.
The issues they had with the story it wasn't that they wasn't there. It was they didn't tell it in a good way.
They didn't tell it in a way that made you care.
I think they got a little bit better on the vanilla Destiny 2 story, but I felt like Gold was such a great character. He went out in such a horrible way. He should have been a raid boss. I don't care what anyone says.
I would agree with that.
Leviathan should never have existed. You should have done something with Osiris in that raid. You should have helped Rasputin do his raid. The Leviathan should never have existed.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I got. If anyone else got anything else Forsaken, if Destiny's back, we can move on.
So, all right. It is on that 1 o'clock. Football has started, and I think I will save my topic for next week. So.
All right, so we'll save Persistent Online. Okay, cool. And then I'll just finish up. This is super quick. And Grandpa Nintendo back in the news again. So it has been found out that multiple Switch games, including Pokemon, Splatoon, and Dark Souls, will not support cloud saves. As we know that Nintendo's online service is going live soon this month, I believe. And this information was found out on the website, and apparently there was some fine print with those games saying that they will not support it. So then Nintendo got ahead of the statement. They got ahead of it. They basically put out a statement, and they said that the vast majority of Nintendo Switch games will support save data cloud backup. They said, however, in certain games, this feature would make it possible for players to regain items that they had traded to other players. So to ensure fair play, save data cloud backup will not be enabled for those games. So they basically, that's their reason. They're saying for fair play that, certain games are not going to have it. Whereas you look at the Xbox, you look at the PlayStation, they have no problem doing cloud saves on all the games.
Every game. For some reason, they can't do it. Well, Pokemon,
Yes.
I want to hear what Lewis has to say.
That's why I'm bringing this. I'll bring this to our guest, Lord Lewis.
That laugh was savage, man. I loved it.
What is your, impression of this news that has just come out? and reference to Nintendo Switch and the cloud slaves, and just technically, what's your mindset behind this? Like, what did you think when you heard this news?
So I hadn't heard of it until like yesterday, I think, or something. So I think Nintendo's Nintendo, and
how long
they
do
do things
you
their
have to
way.
say that's not
Well,
acceptable?
I think they do things their way, and a lot of us expecting them to do things differently is just like not a thing anymore. So I'm sure they have their reasons for it. I don't know what the restrictions are and stuff like that, but when I play on Nintendo now, I know that there are just like restrictions and things in place that I might have in other consoles that are okay, but I don't know how this like affects or anything like that. It's interesting.
So my thing is like from a technical perspective, like we were talking about earlier, how sometimes gamers are they're just unreasonable with the request. No doubt. I have a question. Where's the damage control? We were talking. Why is it always damage control? Like, there's nothing to damage control here.
I don't know why you damage controlling, but you're doing it.
Nobody's dead. Can I finish? What I want to know is, like we were saying before, how sometimes gamers, they have expectations that are unfair, and you as a developer, so looking at their reasoning for it, does it make any sense to you?
I honestly don't even know how that kind of technology works. Like, I don't know what to do that stuff. So
I'm
not defending this at all.
What's funny is you prefaced it so good that you're like, Lewis, he said, man, that's Manny being Manny over there.
You're not defending this at all.
You know who I would love to have on the show right now? Lord Spawnway. Remember when he was on the show? Like, he made everything negative sound so positive. I don't know how he did it.
Lord Spawnway, because he was one of the first that I seen to actually break it and kind of expose Nintendo as far as to why is this happening, because it doesn't make sense that like a certain amount of titles, including their own, Pokemon's a big deal. Like, Splatoon's a big deal. Like, they don't have cloud saves, and this is a feature that we're going to be paying for, and
just
here's the other thing.
Acknowledge that you're playing with the one-armed man. Right. Just acknowledge that you're playing with the one-armed man.
But here's the question, also back to Lord Luis again, is like, besides the fact that it doesn't have that, they don't even have a local, say, backup option. You know what I'm saying? So again, if we're supposed to be paying for this service that's supposed to protect us data, but if the local option doesn't exist for these games, then what? Like, do you not see this as something that's problematic?
So you can't. That's what I was saying before. Like, I just heard about this. I'm not sure what the extent of it is. I don't know. Like, you can't save locally. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the thing is, you can't back up locally.
You can't back up locally. That's the thing. So if your Switch is stolen, if your data is corrupted on a local level, there's nothing you can do. Like, prior to the cloud saving stuff.
He's talking about like put on a USB or something like that.
Right. There's no option to back up to another drive or another disk or something like that. That's pretty much what it is right now. So people were very hopeful for the cloud service. So they're like, okay, now we have an online backup. We could be good. But now that is non-existent for these games. Again,
they said, hold up.
Yeah. Pokemon Let's Go game.
You thought it was safe outside.
I just got a question.
Dark Souls Remastered. Dead Cells is also on this list. FIFA 19, NBA 2K19. Now, NBA 2K19, I'll give a pass because I play that on Switch, and that is all backed up on 2K servers. Right?
So that's the thing. The developer got to do it. Nintendo can't.
but the reason they're saying is that they're saying because we want to promote ensure fair play. So in essence, they're disabling the feature.
So hold on. Let me get this straight.
Yes.
Like they're going to above and beyond for like that, but you can get programs easily on Pokemon and clone stuff on Pokemon for the 3DSs. Like, I get that logic, and they can't stop all that. Right. But I feel like if they didn't take the precautions to stop all of that,
right?
Why are they taking precautions? Maybe it's because it's the console thing, but they're clearly supporting the DS in general. So I don't know if it's that either.
Well, shout out to Lord Taz. He put out an article that apparently there's supposed to be a $5 subscription service that does say that they're soon to be offering for the Pokemon series. for the Let's Go series.
Because with Pokemon, they want you to do everything through the Pokemon Bank, right? On their end.
Diamond.
Yeah, they come on, man. You knew that was coming.
Oh
But
my! No, I did not. I did not see Nintendo Scrooge McDuck in your wallet. I did not see
Nintendo
this.
is always okay. This is the thing that we don't always acknowledge. Nintendo has never, ever been consumer friendly, ever.
Right.
I can't stop it.
People say
That's Lord defense. That's Lord defense right there, boy. He said anything
Lord
come down the
Cognito,
pipe.
I have to demand that be put on his.
Why is it? Yo, you guys are hilarious.
The defender.
If I come out in defense of them, it's wrong. If I diss them, I'm still defending them.
No, Lord rebuttal. Your disses is like, yeah, he's a killer, but he has great qualities.
They say you're doing
I just want to know when it's okay to officially throw the switch in the bushes. That's what I want to know.
Continue, Saul. We'll finish up.
Listen, this is call for Nintendo. This is what it is. Like I said, what do you expect for $20?
So now we have to put a price on the level of service.
Yeah, well, I did that before. I told you guys. You get what you pay for, and in this instance, you are paying $20 for 1 year. You're not getting much. Forget about it. Don't expect it.
But Saul, are you not confused by those games being excluded for because of fair play?
That's a lie. That's a straight up lie. That's a stupid.
Okay.
That's all it is. But
so now
I play the Switch like that stuff's not even there. Like I can't save. I can't save. Like it's just not there.
Wait, because now every announcement is tempered with trepidation. You're like, oh yeah, they're releasing a game, but does the game come without sound? Like,
oh my god. Anyway, anybody else got anything else in the phone?
Sound is in the cloud.
We definitely running over. But like I said, to Lord Luis, I know everyone's confused. We'll see what happens if they get in front of it, because it's definitely strange in reference to this cloud service, and we'll see hopefully if they even make another announcement. But that's what I got on that. Anybody else? We can close this thing out. All right. So with the initial last poll of the week, with the initial momentum of the Spider-Man PS4 launch, do you anticipate Spider-Man surpassing God of War in first month sales numbers? The choices are A, yes, Marvel and Spidey.
I have a feeling this extra one is going to have something to do with this bet.
A, yes, Marvel and Spidey momentum is too huge to stop. B, no, God of War is a once-in-a-generation masterpiece. Or C, I don't care. All my money is going to NBA 2K VC. That is the question. Those are the choices. We rock the ILP poll when it comes up on Twitter. Lord Luis, an absolute pleasure to have you in the realm of the Lords. Where can the fine people find you? And what other secret projects you got going on Undead? No, just joking.
Okay, wait, I didn't hear.
I was joking. I said, what other secret projects you got going on at Undead Labs? But absolute pleasure to have you, man. Where can the fine people find you? Thank you for being here.
Oh, they can follow me on Twitter. I think it's Jaluis_01 and Instagram Jaluis. So they can just follow me there.
Nice. Absolutely, man. Absolute pleasure, man. The stories, the knowledge you were dropping, you took us back, man. Mexico, Cancun, all those gaming stories, same things we were doing here in the States, in the Bronx. So you are definitely a Lord that we respect, that has been through the culture, man. And to see your journey, it's truly inspiring to see where you've come from, man. Absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem. Lord Attic, what you got going on, man?
What's going on, you guys? Appreciate everyone for coming out. Definitely appreciate Lord Luis for coming on. I always like to have devs on the show, giving your perspective. Especially we could sit here and talk all day long. We could say what kind of information we need to apply And I'm sure a lot of these devs that watch these shows are like, dude, they have no idea that none of that is possible. But, definitely appreciate you for coming on. You can definitely follow me on Twitter, LordAddictILP. Definitely would appreciate a follow. I'm coming close to 1,000 followers. Also, I definitely have the Destiny 2 review up on Forsaken.
Yes,
you can definitely go that. I will be streaming the raid on the ILP channel on Twitch.
Nice.
I was going to do it on my channel, but I'm going to go ahead and do it there.
Mm-hmm.
And Irrelative Native, you can find me at your front door here in about 5 minutes. But I appreciate Lord Luis for coming in again.
Absolutely. Absolute pleasure. Lord Solve, the Nintendo Defense Force. It's in the building.
Okay, I really expect that to be in his intro next week.
Where can the provide you what you got going on?
First of all, a big shout out and thank you to Lord Luis for coming through. I apologize for subjecting you to our foolishness today. You see what we do week in and week out. But yeah, you guys can definitely catch me on PS4 taking selfies of Spider-Man and putting them up on Twitter.
I can't hide in bushes. I'm too tall for that.
What's that PSN tag? Since you all
BX Sovereign, one word. BX Sovereign, one word.
No doubt.
You can catch me playing Tomb Raider come Tuesday. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, really excited about that. And also, big shout out to the Sega Dreamcast. 19th birthday today.
Yes,
one of the best and underrated systems of all time. One of the greatest systems of all time.
Yes.
It stayed around too
little. It was
little.
so underrated it went under.
Well, there you go.
Everything dies at it.
19 years, baby. 19 years since the launch of that.
Facts. Salute Lord Peter Moore putting that tweet out was fantastic. No doubt. Lord King, where can find you? What you got going on? I know Combat Talk is part of it.
Yes. Okay. Well, first, I would like to say thank you to Lord Luis for coming through. When we met you at PAX, we knew that you were genuine. The whole team was genuine. And to have you on the show is fantastic. As soon as I had got back to New York, I pre-ordered the big game. Even though I knew it was coming out of Game Pass, your guys' passion was so immense, and it left an impression on me that I had to support 100%.
Absolutely.
So and then you on the show and hearing the story, and oh man, it's just like I said, it gave me goosebumps because we lived that too. So we know that you share the same love of this this gaming thing, this pure gaming that we have. So we do appreciate you being here today, and it's definitely an honor for you to be here.
Absolutely.
All right, Combat Talk. Anytime you see me tweet out Combat Talk, that's the abbreviated. I try to put it out in parts, but to get the full Combat Talk, subscribe to Iron Lord's podcast on YouTube, and it's up there. Part 2, the results will be up today. It's going on right after this. I usually do it in the morning, but we had the show, so it's going up right now. Next week we have Triple G versus Canelo 2. Saturday, the part 1 will go up, and the results will go up part 2 on YouTube. All right, I put it out on Instagram, I put it out on the Facebook community page, and I also put it out on Twitter as much as I can. You can interact with us there. You can get at me. Also, please make sure that you follow the Instagram. Go there, join and see exactly what we're doing. There's a lot of background stuff. Lord Sovereign will be posting a lot of his pictures of Spider-Man in the Instagram, because he has access as well to the Instagram, opposed to just me. Yeah, let's get it up, guys. But shout out to the clan.
Use Instagram. Lord Attic will be back next week.
Shout out to the clan. You guys rock. I'm loving seeing 4 pages full of people jumping in. That's what it's about. It's about interacting, meeting new people. Stop clicking up with the same people and doing the same things. Meet new people, learn new strategies, and we are all here. We're all community, and that's why we're clan.
Preach. Absolutely. But of the best clans, Destiny clans in gaming. Salute. ILP clan. Absolutely. Again, like I said, one more time, salute to Lord Luis coming through, dropping knowledge, telling us about level design, educating us, on his journey. And it was just really good to see and an absolute pleasure. And again, salute to Undead Labs. Really like all the guys out there, Richard Fogey, Brandt, Fitzgerald, Jeff Strain, all the guys, man, that we got a chance to come in contact with. Really, really good, close-knit group of team. And we're just so excited to see what you guys got going for the future. As far as us, obviously subscribe, hit that like button, subscribe to all of you YouTube channel and then the Idea Circle Network Media, Multiverse with Anchorman's crazy self will be on Monday. Make sure you tune into him. And obviously take podcasts into it, Double XP and all the other channels out there. Also, Stream Team, we had some giveaways going on. Shout out to Los Naldo, Super G, Late L Boogie. We're trying to get finish up with Lord Nintendo. He should be coming soon, and Super G should be coming back. Lord Kaibatsu will have the audio and the timestamps, all that good stuff up later on as well. Also, Flashpoint 31 with my man E Bonds is up. The complete reaction, the breakdown. Forsaken. If you want to dive deeper into that Destiny life, we got that. And Combat Talk, like you said, King will have part 2 up there, man. We really appreciate the support, the Patreon, all that stuff. And thank you for rocking with us at our new time. If anyone got anything else, we got some football to watch, y'all.
I definitely got something else real quick. Next week on IOP, I'll be announcing the game that Lord King David will be purchasing me. Winning this
with the bet.
Next week on ILP, you're gonna get a chance to see Lord Addict take a knee while I take that selfie, and I'm gonna have the best life that you can see I lead. That's it.
And on that note, everybody enjoy your Sunday. Get to these games. Hope your fantasy lineups are true. But on that note, peace.